Hello and welcome to a brand new Unsourced Wall. We're back again. We're doing another deep dive into another stalwart franchise. I don't know when we're gonna stop with these, but finally we've struck another gold point. We're doing Alien, Dan O'Bannon, Ridley Scott, Walter Hill, David. I forgot his last name.
H.R.
Geiler.
Geiger.
H.R. Geiger. Yes, and it's masters at the power. They're at the peak of their powers here, man.
Jerry Goldsmith.
Jerry Goldsmith,
Mm.
verisimilitude. What Evil Dead is like Cabin in Woods movies. I think Alien, like it is like the example. Like there was, sci-fi aliens on ship movies before this, but I don't think that anything really consolidates the fear, the verisimilitude, the tension, and just the grime of it into like a consolidated package, a comprehensive as this is. Alien, like it's why it's called Alien. It's Alien. It's the definitive article. And that's just me. Let's go
Drop
around.
the duh, it's cleaner.
Exactly. Let's go in the round table. Doug, what's your first thoughts on the Alien, the first one?
It'd be funny if I came in cold on the. No, this is like pretty much a perfect movie. It's like one of the greatest movies ever. Like I mean, sci-fi horror is like basically like one of my favorite genres, and like you said, like this like consolidates like the whole idea of what is scary about an alien in space. And like I'm excited to do this whole franchise, but like none of this happens, or just like kind of the whole past 5 decades of sci-fi horror doesn't happen without Alien. Like this like you said, this sets the template. And it gets better on rewatch, because like as a kid I'm just like, oh yeah, scary alien, this is good. But like now I was like trying to like formulate like what's like my Mount Rushmore of like anti-capitalist sci-fi movies, and like this is definitely on there. So like it's probably like this, The Matrix, They Live, I don't know, and then a fourth one.
Doug Jones's Mute.
You know what? Mute is great, because why can't they just let those clones, like if the fucking Sam Rockwell plus the going in the background, and you're just going through like these clones are like dying on the court stands, and like they're still going through this sham lawsuit, like ridiculous. They're gonna die in like 5 weeks. Just wait it out. But the rest of the movie is pretty good too. But okay, you're right. I totally agree. Like this, I mean, without this, the entire trajectory of like sci-fi goes blip. Something was in the water. O'Bannon and Geiger, like they just met at the perfect moment to like create like this iconic collective unconscious kind of monster and scenario and nightmare play that they film here. It's wonderful. Tony, what's your first thoughts on Alien?
Yeah, we're covering like a massive series as usual. Spider-Man was massive as well, and let's not underestimate Children of the Corn. But with Alien, like I feel like I've always known what this is, right? Like this is one of those franchises that, like, because it's called Alien, because it's so effective at what it does, like everyone kind of just gets indoctrinated into it. And I'll always bring up my first memory of Alien, where like I went to the Great Movie Ride in MGM. If you guys have ever been to Disney. They used to have a ride where you could go through like a bunch of the classic films, which was funny because like they had like Bubsy Berkeley musicals, and they had John Wayne and stuff like that. And then in the middle of it, all of a sudden they had Alien. And I'll always remember in the queue, they would play the trailers for these movies. And I remember watching the trailer for Alien, and that was my introduction to Alien like 5 or 6 times. And I was like both scared and immediately interested, to the degree where like I caught up on all the aliens. And by the time Alien versus Predator was in theaters, I was like, I'm there opening day. Right. So it was like one of those things where, I just, as soon as I heard about it, I got excited, and then I was all in. And like, I wouldn't say I'm like a fanboy of this franchise by any means. I just really love this movie. This movie in particular is fantastic. It's taking what was popular at the time in several genres, throwing them in a blender, and you get something completely perfect for what it's trying to do. There's certainly some pacing things we could talk about, and like, I like any nitpicks are just that, nitpicks. This movie's amazing. It's like everybody should watch this movie as soon as possible if they haven't. everybody who has seen this movie probably already owns it. You know, like it's one
Yeah.
of those movies that just like works in every facet.
Yeah, no, completely agreed. And you know what? I was on that ride too, and I was like 6, and like I was like, I'm not like I could. It was like I was like on the outer row of like the little gondola kind of track thing they put you on, and like
Mhm.
when we got into the alien part, I could hear it clicking, and like there's a fog or a little wind thing they're doing, and like I'm looking, like I'm not fucking like at this at all. It's like no. No way.
It's
But
crazy what they do to you, because they go right from like, you know, you do like a shootout in the Old West or something, Good and the Bad, the Ugly, and then all of a sudden you're on the Nostromo 10 minutes before the self-destruction. Like the last like, final
yeah,
stretch of this
yeah,
film.
you
And
hear like
then
the
like,
alarm like,
the alien appears from the ceiling and descends upon the crowd.
right.
It's like, I was just in Mary Poppins like 10 minutes ago. Like, what are we doing here?
And it runs around the rim. I'm like on the outer rim, so I can feel it like the suit actor's like rush by, like no way. But it's so good. Mikko, what's your first thoughts on Alien?
Wow. I don't know, what is my first thought, because, I've lived with this movie, you might say, for a very long time. I remember this was like one of the uh shortly after I was born, the Soviet Union started getting like American movies on videotape. So I think I have memories of seeing or at least seeing glimpses of this movie when I was maybe like 3 or 4 years old or something.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I just remember being like, terrified of it. I think my brother showed me Aliens, like the James Cameron sequel, maybe what was it, like around 1990, 1991, something like that. And that was actually less scary. And I think that was really my introduction. I had to actually go back to this movie later. And I remember that this was just one of those films that you had to own on video. It was like, everybody you knew somehow was aware of this movie and its sequels, right? And yeah, like so for a long time I held the opinion that Aliens was the better movie, and then as my tastes in film matured, no, I came to recognize that this is really this is really like the best Alien film by far. I mean, it is
Yeah.
I mean, look, it is a legitimate masterpiece. It's everything about it, from its look and its sound and its pace, its design. I mean, it feels like one of those movies where everything feels so perfectly unified and calibrated, right? That you're just like, yeah, like what can you really say about it?
It's also like the perfect like work of a journeyman, right? Because there's much we could talk about in terms of Ridley Scott, right? Like he always wanted to be like an auteur, but he always was kind of like a for hire guy, right? And you can very clearly see his confluence here in this film, right? Because he so much wants to be like Kubrick and Friedkin, right? You got so much of the terror of The Exorcist mixed in with the slow pace of 2001. But then on the flip side, there's so much of the commercial viability that you can see in films like Jaws and Star Wars in this movie as well, right? Like we'll talk about how like there are some very clear reference points and direct ones as well, specifically with Dan O'Bannon, that I definitely want to get into. But you can see that this movie is taking a lot of what's out there at the time, right? Even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? And it's just like putting it into Blender and finding a way to do it in this precise way. Nobody has done an alien movie quite like this up until this point. There had been like, 50s, we explore a new planet and then we get into like a tough, right? But there had never been like it's hunting us down on the ship and we can't find it. And it's like a horror film in this way.
Yeah, like it's never been this technical. I think there was, old, like you mentioned, 50s, 60s Corman style, like there's a monster in a suit, but like everything's still very day glow and very neon. It's very fun. It's like that old kind of campy horror monster fun. This is like what if we took whatever we could glean from like goddamn 2001 and just made like this really horrific monster movie, just using that kind of detail, that kind of like restriction and formula. no formality. I mean, like down to like its essential bearings. Like the first like 5 minutes of the movie is like is kind of reminds me a lot like 2001's kind of like that celestial ballet kind of opening, not opening, like the midpoint where you get like the to the vessel, the Jupiter vessel that, that they're on 2001. It's like just like we're gonna take this as slow as possible. It's gonna be like a little sweet, and it's like balletic, and I really love that. It's like it puts you into a kind of a dreamlike state. I think it's really kind of
it's like a tone poem,
exactly,
like a table setter. Yeah, like, and I think it's fascinating to realize that, like this movie doesn't mind devoting like the first few opening minutes just like slowly unveiling the title, like I mean like how it right. I mean even that in and of itself is kind of like you initially think, what are these strange symbols or something that are showing up on the screen? Is it some like, oh no, wait, it's like just like the title, right? Like and we're hearing all this music, and it's like an overture, right? Like as like
and the first credits Tom Skerritt, and you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean you really don't get opening sequences like that in movies nowadays. I mean, I think we used to have opening sequences still in the 2000s or something, but I think by the 2010s it was almost like you can't devote even a minute of screen time to just like showing the title and like the cast names and whatever. You kind of have to just like jump into the action. So already given this, I think like there's something almost uncanny about watching this like almost 50 years later, and it's like, wow, why is nothing happening, kind of like it's just like, so the pace of this movie it's like you couldn't do that today. It's like almost impossible.
I think it's actually a very natural response to a lot of what had been popular at the time, right? And we'll definitely need to get into Dana Bennett pretty soon if we were going to have this discussion. But like when it comes to like what we've already discussed, right? Like 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? This movie's opening in a very similar slow manner, right? But the reason that it's presented in this way with this music is to draw dread out of us, right? We're in 2001, we think of space travel as like a human reaching its next evolution, right? In this film, space travel is a means to an end to make some cash, right? And like when in what I was saying about bringing that Star Wars idea into it, right? So in 2001, all of the tech is like recognizable for the era, but it's forward thinking, right? In Star Wars, that series is so much about like, how do we take like tactile tech, right? How do we like take what already exists and then just kind of like extend it out to if it were in space travel? And this movie has a very similar kind of approach to design, and I think that's all intentional in terms of framing the story as to go back to the 50s comparisons, right? So these 50s movies, they're all about exploring the stars in hopes of a better tomorrow, usually, right? Like it's all very bright-eyed and like we're doing this for the right reasons, right? This is a movie that's like they're in space and they don't want to be, right? They just want to go home, right? And now they're going off on this side mission and it's about to go terribly wrong. So this whole movie is going to be about like, you're used to this kind of thing, but we're now doing it a little differently. And it's actually kind of crazy now that Alien, as old as it is now at the point where it's inspired so many people to where it may not be as easy to see how this film is, readapting things that had been established even decades prior.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, what that makes this sequence so really like impressive and impactful, at least like viscerally and emotionally, is that it's like the slow scanning, like almost like getting trapped in a maze. Like you're starting from this big expanse of the world, of the universe, and then like you get to like this really frumpy looking ship, and then you go into this ship and it's like more claustrophobic than you can think of, no space, and then we go into like low ceilings, cramped machinery, computer angles everywhere, wires, cables. It's claustrophobic. And then you go into like the sleeping pod area, it's like this angelic kind of thing, because that's it's like life is like nestled and like confined and trapped in like this unfeeling, mechanical, sterile environment. It's like, ugh, creepy.
I love also just like obviously everyone's seen this movie, so there's no need for spoilers or anything. But like if you're looking at the way that the bodies are positioned when they're waking up, right? I just really like the fact that we're starting on John Hurt, right? And so much about this movie is going to be about subverting who we think the protagonist of this film is. So everybody who's seen any kind of hacky film knows that the hackiest thing you can do is show your protagonist waking up as the first thing that they do, right?
Right.
So to have us start with this character, we assume that John Hurt's going to be our guy. That's first off, right? Second off, John Hurt is sitting next to Ian Holm, right? And beside John Hurt on the other end is Yaphet Kotto. If you look at Yaphet Kotto and John Hurt, they're both like slumped, like their hands are up or something, right? Like natural sleeping positions. If you look at Ian Holm, he's like a pencil, right? Like just his body language is very like direct. So, I don't think that you're supposed to see that and immediately go, he's an alien, a robot or whatever, right? But I'm like, because I've seen this movie a million times, I'm starting to notice these cues.
The details are there, like it's all planned, and just like the performance by Ian Holm, like you pick up so many little moments of like his physical performance or just Ash clocking stuff, which is why, I mean, we'll get to that movie when we get to it, but why it's so stupid when people are like, well, that's just the model of Android of synthetic that they used was him. It was like, no, the whole point was that they didn't know that he was a synthetic. Like if that was like a common model, like they would have like just clocked it, like, oh yeah, we have an android on the ship. Like they did not know.
Yeah, no, and that's why I also really don't. We'll get to it as well. We're talking about movies that we're going to talk for weeks now. But like Ian Holm, I think is a great presaging of like what you can invest in this character, because he's such a interesting character to think about on a scene per scene basis. Like obviously there is like the Hal kind of like influence there, where like he has a set conditions from Weyland-Yutani or the company, right, as they're calling this one, and he's kind of like really sort of hewing to those in a psychotic, maniacal, overly sort of controlled way. But like also he's kind of a little fucking prick, and he knows it. And he's like, so what is where's the thread line there? Where's the border? Where's the boundary? And I think that's a really great thing to sort of like think about and to like really sort of interrogate watching this movie again and again. Like I think Ian Holm brings such a life to this performance, even when he's like, I don't think about it, and like even like full of Rob Mike, like, no man, you're still a little bit of a fucking piece of shit. Like he goes out smiling. I love it. He goes out smiling. It's asshole.
Yeah, to me, he's way more interesting. Like I love Hal, but like Ash is more interesting because of that line between like what his programming is and like no, there is he does have a personality. It's like not a good one, but he does have like a personality.
It's like, what if Hal had been like integrated within the friend group for a long time to the point where it's like he's a real menace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like he's got a real smug attitude about him, and also just talking about like these opening scenes as we're establishing all of these characters. Like I always find he's like on the outside, right? Or he's in a very like he's not imposing, right? Because there's like a scene where like Yaphet Kotto he comes in, he's like, oh, you're sitting in my seat, and he just gets up and leaves, right? Ian Holm is not looking to be in anybody's way, but then whenever there's a decision-making process, he's there adding his input, right? He's trying to quietly guide, and you can see that just in how in his posture is kind of outside of the circle rather than being so much in it. And then also just speaking about how we're introduced to these characters around this opening meal, right? I thought it was great that the first character that we cut in on is Ridley, right? So it's like, even though like the idea is that we were introduced to John Hurt, instead we're entering into this conversation where we're meeting all these characters through the first time with Ridley.
You mean Ripley?
Ripley. I'm mixing it up with Metroid now.
Ripley, because the director, his name is very similar to.
There you go.
Yeah, he like it's a sign. I must do this movie.
He read the script. He's like, yes.
I want to say that I think what's really cool about the casting of Ian Holm also is that he has an inherent likability. I don't think you would ever expect him in a movie to be a villain. You would never expect him to,
because he's short.
He's short, he's unimposing, but also, he's just kind of like that. He's like the guy that you expect to be just like really like nice and to play like nice characters. Like you wouldn't like God like
His
Jason
resting
Sudeikis.
face is kind of gentle. There's a gentleness
Right.
to him.
Right. No, but I mean, it's kind of like you would never. It's
I
hard to
mean,
believe.
there's a reason
like,
why there's a reason why they picked him to play a hobbit. He's like,
Right.
he should be like drinking tea and like sitting on a couch, you know,
Right.
not trying to, sexually assault someone with a fake dick. Horrific shit.
Yeah.
This movie's amazing.
Yeah, no, but also, yeah, like I have to say that it is fascinating, just kind of like the way, you have all of these shots of Ash sometimes that are kind of like, you can read so much into it in hindsight, especially. I mean, I'm kind of like fully convinced that, man, the guy was clearly doing everything possible to keep the alien, like, like off everybody's radar, probably like, I don't know, he must have done something off screen to help it move around, probably sabotaged, like, probably made sure that nobody, probably cleared Kane, even though he knew, like, Kane, like, had the, embryo inside him, cleared him for active,
I mean, he did the scan, so he would have seen it. He would have seen it. It's very clear.
Yeah, no, and a lot of it, right? It's all in the subtext. I mean, my understanding is that the screenplay for this movie, at least for the final film, was mostly the product of David Giler. Like, I mean, David Giler. No, I'm sorry, Walter Hill. And Walter Hill, collaboration. But like one of them, I can't remember who, unfortunately, right now. But like one of them was very good at like very terse, like very economical, I think, dialogue and storytelling. And that really comes off in this movie. I mean, there's just so little exposition, really. Right, like it's all
we can't beat around the bush anymore, right? If we got to talk about the script, we got to talk about Dan O'Bannon, and we got to talk about Dark Star, right?
Right.
Like, are you guys familiar with Dark Star?
I've
Dark
seen
Star.
it.
Yeah.
So it's like for like this movie, right? Like this movie is pretty much a rip of Dark Star, right? So I honestly would imagine that Walter Hill saw Dark Star and Dan O'Bannon, made it and was kind of like, I wish I could have gone in different directions. I wish John Landis didn't have notes, and then they decided to make something like this, right? I think that's a totally natural way to step through that, right? Because Dark Star, it's not an entirely successful film. It's a blast, but like you can clearly see, especially in the design, that there is a kind of world that they want to like fully realize. And clearly those were the parts that should have been brought forward.
Right, like it's very workman style. I love all the fucking jumpsuits these people wear. I love when a movie has a good jumpsuit that's like it's like purely functional and unappealing and just dirty and like that's why I love it about these films particularly. I love seeing like, let's just see how bland they can make these uniforms look, and they're great.
The fits.
Exactly, they're great.
It makes a spaceship look like the inside of like a steam engine from like the turn of the century, right? Like there's nothing about this that looks glamorous, right?
At all.
Like that, and you can really feel that like everybody is just tired and is upset that they're awake. And then also just on the note of production design, I just really liked it back in the day in science fiction films where like a character had to walk into another room to consult the computer, right? Like the big room filled with lights, and there's a console in the center. Right, I love that bit. Like Tom Skerritt comes back, he's like, I talked to mother, like it's just everything about that stuff is just like great, like 80s science fiction.
Like Mother has like text back. It's so good. I love Mother. But no, I want to stay on Dan O'Bannon for a bit because I might have known that the original Star Beast script was adapted into a comic. And by Dark Horse, like 10 years ago or something. And I read it when it came out, and it totally retrained the view I have of this movie because this is basically like you mentioned Dark Star and then Alien, but Alien is Dark Star is to Alien what Alien is to Return of the Living Dead. Okay, because like when you read the original script, it's like very similar to Alien. No, like I think 80% similar, but the things that aren't are like tone and intention, or at least the way certain scenes pay off differently in terms of mood. Now, of course, this is a complicated adaptation. The writer, the adapter, or the artist could be influencing things in a different way. But like, what came to mind to me with Return of the Living Dead and this is that escalation and in the sort of this sort of emotion that escalation sort of brings out. Because in Return of the Living Dead, like zombies, okay, we're going to shoot them, chop them up, destroy their heads. Nothing. We're going to turn them to ash. The ash becomes smoke. The smoke becomes rain clouds. The rain clouds drop down.
It's more of them.
Water that creates more zombies. The zombies come back up, make more zombies. Like a whole fucking
the life cycle.
Exactly. So the way that this pays off in the comics is, or the original script in the comics is that alien can't chop it off. Fucking acid blood. Okay, it's dead now. Wait, no, it's now an embryo that burst out. The embryo, we gotta find it. Oops, it's actually gigantic now. Oops, we're gonna explode it. Oops, it doesn't get fucking exploded. Oops, we're gonna blast out the airlock. Oops, it can survive in space. So it just feels like, yes, like the way the escalation is, it's in the comic, it's a lot more comedic. Like it's like more of a comedy of errors in that comic, which I'm gonna assume potentially was what I never read the original script, the original Starby script. Maybe I should check it down. But that's what I got from that. And I feel like that also, I think, carried forward into like Return of the Living Dead. And I think is a lot of what makes O'Bannon stuff a little bit more fun. Even his H.P. Lovecraft movie is really, really fun in that kind of ways. Like you never expect like how this is gonna escalate and how fucked everything is. And that's kind of the fun too. When I watch this, like it's really effective and really kind of dread inducing and scary, but it's also like it's also so concisely like really impactful when the triggers pay off. Like, all priorities rescinded, crew expendable, like so fucking good. Like I get a chuckle at it every time. It's so clinical, but that's what makes it funny.
Just the only thing to add to like Dan O'Bannon and his penchant for escalation, he is the guy who wrote Life Force, right? So it's like, if there's anybody who knows how to escalate, it's him. But when it comes to his work, right? Like Dark Star is John Carpenter's first movie, right? Like, of course, Dan O'Bannon is himself also a cynic, right? And I think that's so much of what's present in Alien and Return of the Living Dead and all this stuff, right? Like Dan O'Bannon is mining like you're fucked, right? He's shining that light in your eyes at all times, and he's going to mine that in different ways, right? In Dark Star, it's an existential kind of understanding that there's hopelessness, and in Alien, it's confronting that in a more tactile way, right? So on and so forth with the rest of the films. But I think that O'Bannon was always trying to find a way to take something that was always idealized from prior generations. Like, again, those 50s B movies, I can feel that so much in Dark Star and this. And you can clearly see that he's like, well, what if it was like actually for adults, right? Because like I imagine that at the time, like certainly those movies are for adults, right? But it's like he wants it to have a different kind of perspective. And also, this is like the 70s. Halloween came out last year, right? We're getting these kind of like big statements on these kinds of movies, and I feel like Alien is adding to that, being like, this is what this kind of movie can be.
And not just going off of like 50s space movies, like this, we had Star Trek, like in the 60s, which was like an optimistic vision of the future of like humanity coming together for a common cause. And,
right.
And this is like, no, we're still, like we're motivated by money and trapped in these same systems. And because like when we're introduced to the crew, like there's a camaraderie in terms of like co-workers, but like there's kind of like hints and things, especially like from earlier versions of the movie where they had more overt allusions, like relationships between crew members that they took out. But like, there's not like a sense that these people are like best friends. It's just they're forced to be in these confines for a long period of time. So there's a familiarity there. But like, if they could choose to be, they would not be here with each other.
I mean, like, yeah, and like, I don't think there's like a big scene or a part where like they know the threat is escalating and is becoming more and more dire and likely they're all gonna die, that they aren't fucking arguing with each other. like about anything. Like, I mean, there's one part where I think Geffen is like, "We're not gonna fucking draw straws," you know, about like what to do next. Okay, either we choose fairly or we're not doing this shit. Like, so good because like you wouldn't like, would you trust your coworker like that was saying with your life? And
Well,
like,
yeah.
and that's what makes this, I think, this ensemble so great because they all feel like so pinpointedly unique in terms of personalities that every single time they clash, it's not like annoying, like standard horror movie. Oh, why don't you just like fucking focus? Like, no, of course they wouldn't, because that's not who these characters are. You know, they feel so lived in and like such like defined personalities and attitudes. It's like it's great. Like it's a real ensemble. Like even though things start whittling down, and of course, you know, Ripley becomes the face of the franchise. Like this one, it's like it's perfectly weighted, I think, to the what the characters should be and what their role is.
I like what I really like about the early characterization is that like beyond just them waking up and having that familiarity, the only thing that's majorly like defined is this whole like class dispute, right? Like Yaphet Kotto and Henry Dean Stanton, like they've got like they want a bonus because they're getting paid less for being
They're
part
the
of the
below
lower
decks
deck.
crew. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So it's like I feel like in terms of characterization before we come down on this planet, all we know is that whatever version of Earth that they're going back to, the same kind of like disparity and class disputes that existed in present day exist in the future, right? So I feel like that is a great kind of tonal indication up front that this is like a capitalist hell, right? And these people's lives are secondary to what the mission is.
Yeah, I mean, like these people are like space voyagers, but not like it's not because of any kind of boldly going somewhere. We're just throwing them in. We're flinging them into space, and just hope for years and hoping they come back. That's it.
It's just like Doug brought up, right? It's like you've got like this optimistic view of space travel, right? And by the time we're an alien, it's like, yeah, fucking if humanity invents space travel, they're gonna find a way to just turn it into like wealth exploitation and make it suck for everybody.
No, I think that's a great point, right? You can sense, right, like in those scenes that it's a very cynical view of space travel, right? Like in contrast to all of that, like, bright-eyed optimism, like go to the stars, like, brave new worlds and everything. And here it's just like more of, the same old shit, just sort of on a much larger scale. And I love that. I mean, I think it was probably reflective, I think, of the late 70s, right? I might be wrong, but wasn't there kind of already like a recession at the time, and a lot of maybe like a kind of a protest against the system that were still happening after Vietnam and all of that stuff, like a kind of general cynicism, I think was in the air.
And to kind of benchmark Vietnam, the whole kind of military kind of experimental scientific conglomerate industrial complex was also a thing here, because that's also one of the things behind Alien. We gotta bring it back. It's important, but like there's only really one thing you would use this for,
warfare.
And it's warfare. It's military applications. And so like that, it's never outright, I think, stated that way, but it's like the clear indication, the inherent undercurrent, like we bring it back to Earth.
You're not curing cancer with this thing.
Yeah, you're just gonna sell it to the fucking military for war.
No, you don't understand. Is the acid blood's actually really good for getting rid of sunburns, which is a real big problem in the future.
Yeah, so like that's another thing. Like, people were like, again, there were lots of awareness and protest against like the chemical warfare we're doing. This is that, and again, that's also something you would see like inherently just there from the get-go, because we see the we get to the derelict, right, and we see the space jockey. It's very much, especially in the design of space jockey, which is why I do like what they do with it later, is that it's a bombardier outfit. It's got the gas mask, and it's got like the straps, and it's like Ridley has said it's like a bombing run, and you get that implication, because it is like you look at like a bombardier outfit like that. That's just that, but like on a cosmic fucked up H.R. Geiger kind of view.
Space jockey. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I do wish though. that it was in fact like a truly alien life form. You know what I'm saying? Not like a guy, not like a humanoid in a helmet. But I mean, come on, like everybody sees that and says, oh wow, it must be
get what
elephantine design and everything.
I hate the elephant thing though. Like that's so
I
goofy.
like
That's so
it.
dorky.
No. This is amazing. He's a giant guy in a bed of a pilot suit. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, because I hear it blurs the line because of the Geigerness of it, between machine and because you're like not sure. You see the bombardier like elephant masking, but you're not sure like what is the shape of this thing
exactly.
And also how long has this been here? Because it looks really, really fucking old.
It's fossilized,
really
even,
ancient,
which.
No,
100%, and I agree. Like, I do think that is on its own just superimposing, because it's like it's been fossilized to a place where, like, even when you compare it to what we're shown in the future, right? Like, it still doesn't make any sense, because like what the fuck happened with this thing? Because like how, again, it must be like thousands of years, because everything is like melded together in a way that it's not. In a way, like it feels like it's cocooned. Was it always like that, or did that happen throughout the eons, the millennia that it's been here? It's all fun.
And then also, if this was a ship, what happened to the rest of the like? There's all these like the implications of like, if you think through of like, yeah, wait, what did happen here? It's very unsettling.
I mean, I love that. Yeah, there are a lot of unanswered questions here, and you do have to use your imagination like a lot. I mean, there's just so much that they don't explain. I mean, I remember, like, I think in the behind the scenes materials, originally, like, the ship was separate from this pyramid-like structure.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking through the comic right now.
Yeah, and I like how here it's all in the ship, and this ship is like, what the hell is up with this ship? Why does it have this, almost like
So basically,
I don't know.
They reused that for Prometheus, the pyramid stuff, because and they even found it's about like a head of a thing, an alien. Like they reused much of that for Prometheus, which I think again, people like Prometheus isn't really an alien movie. Like, fuck you, man.
It very much is. I mean, we'll talk about it.
I wanted to pull back just a bit before we got into the spaceship, right? Because, like, first off, right, we get them going down into the planet, and I just really love, again, like, demystifying the idea of exploring new worlds, right? Like, humanity is just like discovering a planet, and the planet itself is just like wind and fog and just hell, right? Blue. And then also I really love as well that, like, as we're going down on the ship, we're certainly getting a lot of reaction shots of everyone going down, and Sigourney Weaver is getting a lot of like aside moments in these early moments, but like I feel as though John Hurt is always the one who's centered, especially when he enters into the spaceship. He's the one who's very chatty and vocal about what he's seeing as it goes forward.
Yeah, you don't really have the centering or the focus on Ripley. Like, you're not really given any indication. And Sigourney Weaver, as far as I understand it, wasn't like a huge movie star at the time, right? So it's more like she's kind of, she's like just like one of the members of the ensemble. Like, she's not like the later films, of course, are almost like all about like Ripley. It becomes almost kind of a crutch.
Scared and Hurt are bigger stars at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So I like how in hindsight it's almost like she is the unexpected main character who kind of goes out of the background and into the foreground. But also, Tony, in regard to what you were saying, I about the planet itself, I just love that the movie takes the time to get to where it's going. Like, you're really it's almost like a process oriented form of storytelling.
Like 20 minutes to get there, and it's great.
But it's not boring ever. It's like the scale of it is just so enormous, and you get entirely what the perspective is, and it's a wonder. It's like it kind of reminds me of like what Denis Villeneuve is trying to do with his Dune, right? Where he's trying to like make it a little more human and tactile, but it just is a little too clean for me,
It's way too clean. It's too sterile. I don't like those movies at all, except for the second one, which is great.
I don't like either of them. So
Me and Mikhail have talked about like that for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's worthy of it, though. That's a dense text for sure.
It will. We talked about the other shit more.
Actually, if we're going to talk about stuff early on as well, because I brought up the score, right? And the score is used so sparingly in this film, but I love how it's used, especially in the bookends, right? Like the beginning and the end. And Goldsmith, like he fucking conducted and wrote music for the fucking Twilight Zone, for God's sake, right? Like he can do anything, right? And this movie has such like there's a wonder, and then like the dread is implicit, but it's not playing its hand too far, right? And like like there's certainly a sound you could attribute to like horror and sci-fi from movies that were made from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. This feels pretty old-fashioned in a way that doesn't feel like a cheat or like cheesy.
I want
No.
to.
It's like it feels like it's definitely just very atmospheric while also being melodic. It definitely like lulls you. It's never like too obvious. Like it's not like we're not like scoring like a generic kind of monster movie. It feels a little more artful than that.
There will be points where like music's used like during like a Jaws moment, right? And like that's fine at that point. Like you don't even recognize that it's there, right? But it's not invisible because the music itself is not compelling, right? You take those songs out of context, you throw them on, you're like, this is creepy as hell. But while you're watching the movie, it barely registers, and that's like the mark of a perfect score.
Yeah, it's complementing this scene, not overtaking them. What were you gonna say, Mikkel?
Has anybody watched on the classic DVD? Has anybody tried watching it with either the isolated score, or I think like they had an alternate, either an alternate score or an alternate like audio production track or something?
I had no idea.
Oh,
what was the difference?
I haven't listened to that one.
I remember trying to listen, but it was like a long time ago. But it definitely was a different experience because, like, yeah, there were definitely differences in the actual like dialogue spoken on screen. I remember like somehow like it felt sometimes like sound would even maybe disappear in certain scenes. Anyway, I'm just like I'm hoping to find my old DVD and actually like rewatch all those features. Because like that, it was because this was definitely like such an amazing movie for the DVD format after VHS.
For sure.
Yeah, but so I'm like, so I'm interested in how the experience changes. Like when the audio track is different. But that aside, I do want to go back to one earlier point regarding the cast, and like we talked about how definitely. The characters feel very lived in. I mean, they're horror movie. Their characters like in a horror movie, so there isn't like I think that much characterization. But there's definitely like a sense here that these feel like people. And I think what really helps this movie, especially given how slow it is, it's that it's a very contained film. You only have like I think 7 cast members, right? So it's a super, so it's a super small cast, and naturally that gives people, you have like more time for them. But I think that's also reflective of this, future, because it's like this ship and everything, like it's everything is almost fully automated, right? You still need people, but you clearly don't need them that much. So the very fact, so the cast is small that way by design. It kind of feeds into this larger idea of like what this future is and how irrelevant, like the people are. And I definitely
they're almost
that,
the most useful for this purpose in terms of how expendable they are, that you can just throw them at like, okay, we need this valuable resource. Just fucking throw these meat bags in there.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And all they keep on saying is that all they just want to do is go home, right? Like all of them, every time they're talking, they're just like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm done. I just want to go home.
Yeah, no, I love that part, but I do think like that's one thing that was definitely kind of missing in the sequels. Like what made this movie work so well is how economical it is and how small of a cast it has. And like I think a lot of the later movies would really, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot by having like way too many people in them.
For sure, and some would say too many aliens.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right, because I think what makes us, as Tony was alluding to, what makes this, I think, really work despite the ensemble is that they all have very identifiable purpose. You know, like we want to go home, like that's it, that's the driving force. But like in the sequels, there's like we gotta have subplot and we gotta have subplot, and we also have to have like character intrigue and drama, and it suddenly becomes there's too many things to tangle with. And I think that sometimes it works and sometimes it just it creates a giant mess that becomes unfulfilling to watch at times.
Look, people are complex creatures, right? And if you give the audience less and less like direct information about their motivations, they start to read into their actions a lot more, right? And that's just there's more intentionality in terms of how these people are being performed, as well as how the director is, choosing to imbue these scenes, like there's going to be a certain impression that's left, right? And what's great about like any kind of the thing is like when horror movies are brought down to these small casts, the cheap ones don't recognize the opportunity of doing like dramatic theater, right? I don't think the Alien's going to ever enter into that stratosphere, right? But when you can just have a scene where it's just people just kind of yelling at each other in a room, and that's the drama, and Alien is able to do that a few times, that's where it excels, right? More than even some of the traditional scenes of horror. Also, like we haven't brought this up yet, but do you guys know who was originally who was like toe to toe with Sigourney Weaver for the lead role in this movie?
Who?
No.
You guys want to guess? Because it's a crazy answer.
Was it a male actor? Since
I wanted to ask.
No. It's a woman. It's a massive actor. Like it's crazy.
Oh, someone who was already like huge at this time.
Well, they'd done roles at this time. They certainly were well regarded, but like right now they're royalty. Like it's like royalty. You're like, oh,
huh.
Mm-hmm.
Helen Mirren.
Nope.
That's not something that's be my guess too, honestly.
I don't even know if I would describe her as royalty personally.
We're all
I'll just say it. It was Meryl Streep.
What the
Whoa!
fuck?
Meryl Streep.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see that. And she was, she was also like, I think it was just a few years after Kramer versus Kramer, right? Like she was really moving up in the Hollywood, like ranking. Yeah. Oh,
the reason she didn't take it was because her boyfriend at the time, Jimmy Caviezel or whatever, right? The guy who was in like Godfather and Dog Day Afternoon and Deer Hunter, like he had that incredible run.
Oh, Cazale,
yeah. She was dating him. He died, and then she was so grief stricken she couldn't take this role.
Right. He had cancer, and she took care of him for like the last 2 years of his life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's crazy.
Oh,
I
didn't know that.
Cazale, Cazale. Whatever it is.
Imagine, because like Sigourney Weaver's incredible in this movie, but like imagine Streep. Like Streep would be crazy in this.
I can see
she would be crazy, but everyone underplays their roles in this in a way that like helps. Like, and I'm not saying that like not all of Meryl's performances are like big, like and showy, but like I just
she's more dramatic than I think Sigourney had like this kind of demeanor that's like in lava roles that's just so natural.
She's more steely.
Exactly, steely. That's a great way to put it. She's very deadpan in like a very kind of a realistic way, and I really enjoy that. Even as the series goes on, like she can still pack a punch. So this it's good. I really that's great. One thing that I want to bring up is I'm flipping through the comics here, which for some reason I don't know why. Is that like there's also like a much more Lovecraftian undertone here. Like this is I would say that the original screenplay is definitely even more influenced by At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft.
Interesting.
Because you have like the derelict and the pyramid are completely separate things. In the derelict, it's the pilot, but we don't know it's really a pilot because they just find one corpse sitting in a chair, with a decapitated head, and then like miles away, they find the pyramid, and the pyramid has all these alien things. Are they connected? They don't know. They don't know. But like in the pyramid, the eggs are a lot more organic, a lot more unformed. They're like squishy little plant pods than anything else. And it like all around like the decayed ruins, lots of hieroglyphs everywhere, and then what seem like giant versions of the eggs are like lining the walls. But are they decorative or are they actually like giant versions? You know, who knows? But I feel like there's a lot more of Lovecraftian thing going on there.
What I like about hearing this now, and to bring it to the comparison of this movie, right? Because like as we've established, we're kind of seeing the space jockey sitting in his chair, but like this is a spaceship, right? Just as the same as these humans, right? So the of course, like the ruins and the cavernous spaces, they're giant and it's crazy for these people, but like it's ultimately like utilitarian, right? Like it's just like this is their vessel, right? It's not like meant to be pretty or anything. So rather than us having any kind of answers in this moment, instead we're put into a similar kind of environment that these people had already been on, right? The inverse, what you're describing, Elvis, is like lore, world building, right? Think about like the history of where these aliens came from, right? But instead, what we're getting here is just like another step in the timeline, right?
Right.
This is just like where the xenomorphs ended up, right? And there's something so compelling about this is just like happenstantially, this is just the right place that the Bing hit on their thing, and that's how it had happened.
Well,
Right,
in a
back.
straight line to like what's about to happen to them. It's like this, something. It doesn't tell you explicitly what happened in the derelict, but we can put together like, okay, it got loose, infected the crew or whatever, and then that's going to happen to that. It's kind of just setting up they're fucked, like that. That's from them see, like they're not immediately like recognizing what all this stuff is, but that's what that's kind of putting forward, this whole idea of like they're doomed from touchdown.
I just want to say also on the subject of the space jockey, I love how nonplussed really the crew is when they find him. I mean, you get the sense that humanity has already had first contact. Like nothing phases anybody about like, oh yeah, it's an
Right.
but it's just, to me, it's just always weird how they come in like there's this huge like, and there is a kind of wonder here, but it's almost like very clinical and detached to the point where it's like they don't really seem like at all. There's like no shock, no awe, no real surprise, like even at the fact that this thing exists, right? There's some wondering like at stuff, but the attitude there, it's just so kind of jaded.
It's like there's an excitement that they maybe discovered a new kind of alien, but like the concept of alien doesn't seem so foreign to them, right? I think that like what you're saying is right.
Yeah, and I just love that, and also, what does that even mean like for the future? It's like, okay, oh yeah, well, there's an alien, well, same shit, different day, something like that. I mean, I just love like how it feels now, both kind of for the audience, like it feels like very, like weird and like what's going on, but for them, it's like, this is like mundane sort of stuff, and also. One might say that the world building here, it doesn't really draw attention to itself. I find that a lot of, modern movies, they tend to do a lot of lore baiting and kind of really foreground, like all of this stuff.
This is so much more stripped down.
Someone would mention how another crew stumbled upon something or on another like expedition that they some other weird thing they saw. It was like, oh, this reminds me of what happened on that other colony with the da 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 da.
I feel I love how like there's like several movies in this series where that's gonna exactly happen for me.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. Like you're right. And Mikhail, to just jump off, Mikhail was saying like it's so much more stripped down, but that's what makes it like interesting, because like it's like it could be like this grand sweeping thing, but the way that they handle it just so like let's just get in and out, and it feels like so real that way. Like they, and the moment they start noticing things are wrong, like let's get out of here. But only Kane for some reason is drawn to be an idiot.
Our perspective character,
Yeah.
right? Why is he so compelled by this like thing that's just there begging to eat him?
To me, it's almost like the Book of the Dead, where it's like there is some almost like otherworldly pull towards it. It's like you gotta read it. You gotta stick your face in the thing. It's like it's like I don't have like a physical like lore explanation for that. It was like, oh, there's pheromones that draw someone in, so they stick their face in it or something. I think it's just human curiosity and stupidity. But like I think in terms like narrative thematically, it's kind of just thing of like, yeah, it was inevitable that someone's gonna put their face in that thing.
I want to talk about that. Oh, sorry.
I just want one thing. These kids are some pretty good, suit actors. Okay, they walk like regular people.
Oh yeah, because for perspective, those are like kids in the suits.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like that is the way a 4-year-old man would walk. Good job.
Yeah, how do you give direction to a kid to do that? Like walk like you got a mortgage,
What they did was they loaded them up with diabetes socks and like knee braces, right? Like they gave them like a bunch of shit like that, and then they were off to the races.
And they told them, imagine you spent years without your toys, and then you just want to get back to your toys.
It's just lumber around a bit, tired because of your ankles.
Whenever you sit down, just let a lot of air out. Could you do that for me?
But that's what I wanted to talk about. Mikhail, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the whole, Kane goes to the egg thing, because every time I watch the movie, I have to tell you, I am never questioning the logic or the character decision in this movie. I question it in a lot of the other films. Because and I wonder if maybe because it's got to do with the context and how this whole thing is presented, because there is there is a lot here that's simply unknown. Kane has no idea that like what exactly these things are, what's going to come out of them. Like the way it's set up, I think there's
a novelty.
Yeah, there's a legitimate novelty and there's legitimate curiosity that he has and the audience has, like at that moment. I think in the later films already there's this thing where the audience knows what these things are, and arguably the characters should know better, because usually when they encounter the eggs at that point in time, it's like, yeah, it's a different context. There's already a bunch of beasts like running around typically by that moment, and you have no reason to logically like go like and try to peek inside like one of these eggs, right? But I think like here, like it really works because you don't know what's in there, you don't know what's going on, you don't know like anything, like really you don't know what to expect, right? And there is and all of this really is like, it's kind of like, what is this? It's otherworldly, it's strange, it's for it's kind of there's something attractive about it.
I mean,
he's admiring the production design. It's a really good-looking egg. Like,
no, I'm about to say that. I'm about to say that. Like before Tony gets down, but I was going to say that yes, because he is like actually admiring the design and the scope of his spaceship. There's a great part where he like travening down into like the pits, and he notices like this not even a force, it's light, like a blue light layer, and he like plays around for like, what is this gonna do? And it does nothing that we know. It could be maybe if he had stayed above it, nothing would have happened. But he's like, okay, my hand didn't burn off, and he just jumps into it. Like, it's great. This playfulness of it. You gonna say, Tony?
Yeah, and just to play off of everything that we've been saying about the compulsion, and I was going to bring it in with the production design. Like, obviously, there's been much written about like Geiger's like own proclivities and stuff. Like the idea that there is some kind of like sexual implications with a lot of the stuff. It's blatantly there, right? And the idea that this is somebody who's being enticed, right? This is like almost like a more obscure version of Species in a lot of ways, right? Species is like, oh, here's the alien that's attractive and you want to have sex with the alien, right? An Alien, it's more like Alien is the ultimate predator, right? And it's going to find any kind of way to bring you into a space where you're not going to feel like you have your guard up, right? And this is just another instance of that, right? It's a baby that's looking for a host, right? So of course it's just going to be kind of like a sack that when you get close to it, it's going to just jump on you, right? So so like, I'm sure we could write a whole dissertation about all those instances where it's exactly this stuff.
So you're saying he wants to fuck the egg, right?
Well, it's more like
it's very
he wants to get into him. It's more the other way around, right?
I mean, the opening is very vulva-esque. Okay, we get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We understand.
sitting on his face. We get it. Yeah.
No, I mean Giger's design does a lot of the design work, does a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, right? Like
Thematically,
yeah, yeah, and it was interesting also, right? Like you bring up Species. I mean, because that's also a Giger design movie, and there it was way more. I think like just like like sex, death, reproduction, biomechanoid. I don't know, like anyway, but I think like Alien though still keeps things, I don't know, like more elevated, if you will. I don't know. Anyway, I think like Alien does a better does a better job. I think like
because it's more abstract. Like
exactly,
it's clear what those imagery
influences.
is, but it's also like there's all you almost kind of it's like
obscured enough.
It's like subliminally programming you. So like Kane's not even thinking about sex actively, but he sees that egg and is like, hey, what's going on over there?
And my favorite detail, and this is something that I think was definitely something that influenced Prometheus later on, was that the egg, like the very opening, is like very moist. It starts getting like very sweaty at the very top. Like it's like before it even opens up, it's like there's like a little glistening at the sides. It's really great. It's a really great detail.
Sign of life.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like it's very hearthy, I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like that.
When he gets hit with the thing, right? When the face hugger jumps on his helmet and we get that great like scream and he's yelling, we cut right away. I love the hard, quick cut that like from him to the isolation, right? This movie is always like the tagline's perfect, right? In space, no one can hear you scream. The movie's very much so doing that in its filmmaking as well, where it's like it's going to show you something crazy. You didn't think you could see tendrils like that in the 70s. And then it's just going to cut away.
Yeah. Like it's perfect. It goes back to what Del Toro said when in his little featurettes or mimic, which I don't think really is that great. He's like, the cut is always release. You want to like bring it up to the fucking boiling point. And I think a lot of the cuts here, especially with the Alien, does anything like that's unexpected or any kind of backstage of it is great. Like it's perfectly paced in that way. And maybe there's some sluggishness here or there, but always that is on point. Like it's always evocative and impresses upon the viewer a lot every single time.
They really use jump scares well in this movie. Like when the face hugger does that, that's literally a jump scare. When like the some of the stuff the Alien does, it's also very much jump scaring you, right? But also it's just like and that works with how little you see of the Alien. This is still very much that stage where you want to keep the monster in the shadows to maximize its impact. I mean, a lot of horror movies later on, especially I think like in the 80s, like the 90s slashers and everything, you get jump scares like all the freaking time with all of these like music cues. And here I just love how, it's a lot of it is very, very pointed, very calculated cutting, right? Like that, just like how quickly it cuts away when the alien, when the xenomorph like first appears in its full like form and just like hits, Harry Dean Stanton with its second jaw, right? I mean, it's just like the cutting there is just like kind of perfect, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And even the fake out jump scares, like when Jonesy like jumps out something like that, it feels intentional. There's purpose to it. Whereas like my frustration with jump scares in other horror movies, where it just feels like it's cheap or unmotivated. And that, like, yes, it gets a rise out of me, like it's just a physical reaction when a cat jumps, but it's like it is setting you up for the next beat of when Henry Dean Stanton is killed by the alien. So it's like it's like a building. It's not just like a tossed off thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a tool in the toolbox. It's not just using it because it's cheap and easy. It understands that it can deploy these things appropriately at the right times. And as Elvis said, it's a release, right? Like finally being like tricking you into thinking that it can be the moment of just like letting it all.
Oh, it was just a cat. Oh my God.
Like, and great, because I love the things that we don't see, and it's perfectly, everyone knows this. Like things that we don't see are sometimes like the most enigmatic things, or like the most like things that like stay with you. Because just rewatching this movie again, I'm like, how the fuck did they get Kane back to the ship? One, he travened down and like little impasse there. they follow him, grab him back up, bring him back up, and I love when you see him. Like first, like he's like there, he's slumped with them, so you don't get a good shot of his helmet. When we do, like, how the fuck did that happen? It's like seared into his. It's seared into his mask, and the fucking finger is already over his head, and the tail is already inside. How did any of this happen? It's like we don't know. We don't see enough of that. I think we find out again. I think that there's mystery that for a movie I like. I really do like. I think deflates that aspect. But I love that. Like it's just not. We just never gonna know here in this one how the hell it did it.
Well, how did he survive the journey back? You know, like, I mean, because they were on this planet, they needed helmets to be able to, like, but he didn't, like, you know, have a helmet. The helmet was like crushed in, and, you know, the thing was supposedly feeding. Yeah, melted in. The thing was feeding him oxygen later, but there was no oxygen on the planet to feed him.
That's what I was going to say. Why would they assume that he was alive, right? Like it's of panic in that moment, right? And then also, like, one of the funniest subversions, I think, in the movie is they go up to the bay, right, to get back into the spaceship, and they're explaining everything that's happening to Sigourney Weaver, right? And they're like, oh, let us in. And she's like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, right? She understands, like, there's like a quarantine protocol, right? And
she's
then,
going by the book. Yeah.
She's going by the book, but then who lets them in, right? It's Ian Holm, right? So then it's the perfect inversion of 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? Like the robot is going to be the one who lets them in. It was the human who was letting them out. And now all these people are like trusting this robot more than the human because of it.
Exactly, because it's like it's working against their interests, but you know they're not thinking straight. And I think Sigourney Weaver it's great. You're right, because she's very about saying like, no, the protocol, you know. And you know, like he's like, you look at this performance, he just kind of beelines to the door, opens it. He doesn't really care about anything else. Like it's not like a human. He's not panicking or acting like he's like caring. It's a very methodical thing he's doing. So
he like gives her a look when it's done too. Like it's done now. You know, they're here now.
It's petulance.
And listen, I want to just add, like, Elvis, you were wondering how the hell did he get back, and it's funny because so for this rewatch, I watched this Super 8mm version of the movie, which is basically like 17 minutes long, right? And it was hilarious. Yeah, it was hilarious. They cut right from the moment where the face hugger gets onto Kane to them already having him inside like the med bay on the like on the bed with the, you know, like with that close up of him and his helmet with the melted helmet and everything. So it's like so it's like
Family Guy editing.
Yeah.
No, it was hilarious. So all of the entire trek back, like, or what glimpses we saw of it in the theatrical version, is just completely gone, right? Like.
Oh, I want to. I need to watch this version. That sounds good.
I can send you a link if you want. It's still on YouTube. Thank God.
I'd be. Have any of you guys read the novelization?
No, I haven't.
It's one of those things where it's like the stuff that it fills in is better us not knowing. Some movies where you're like, oh, they probably should have given us that information, you know, like in the movie. But this is like we were talking about before in terms of characterization or the world building. Like it's better that it's left up to imagination. But in terms of like the beacon that they're responding to, so the book is saying that you know, like it was the space jockey had sent out a warning for people to stay away, and Weyland-Yutani had picked it up before the Nostromo happened upon it and deciphered it, and so that's how they like kind of know what the xenomorph is, because it like had some details about the biology of the thing in the transmission. And that's like their interest of like, okay, bring that on. We need that shit. So it's like it kind of wasn't just happenstance. You kind of already get that feeling that it's not happenstance. Like the fact that Ash is even on the crew, you know, because like what was his purpose before that, you know?
Exactly.
Being a chill dude.
And remember, like, there's that detail about how he mysteriously replaced like the last medical officer, I think like 2 days or something, or whatever. So you know, Dallas is like, yeah, look, the company sent him in like, you know, 2 days, you know, like I wanted a different medical officer, but I got him. So they definitely knew something, and it's also like they did have a deleted scene where they discuss how I think like Ripley deciphers more of that transmission, says, you know, Ash, this actually looks like a warning or something. Maybe we should come. Oh, no, we don't need to do anything. They'll know if it's a warning or not by the time. Why disrupt them or something?
It's like they do. Yeah.
But I do love that whole undercurrent as well, because it means that in all fucking likelihood, the job they were on was just an excuse so that they could come back the way they came.
Right.
But meaning that they're being paid.
Bullshit.
Yeah, they're being underpaid for a fucking goose chase.
They won't even be paid. They're gonna die. The check won't even clear.
So it's ridiculous. Like they're just toying with them because they can. They could.
They're fucked from the start, from means beyond. It kind of just reminds me of The Thing in terms of like before the movie even starts, they're fucked.
Yeah.
And when it comes to this whole like we're watching John Hurt getting his face hugger played with, they're trying to figure out what's going on, right? And everybody's freaked out, right? But there's a strange sense of calm still, right? Because we don't have this information that's from the novelization or whatever, right? This is what this allows, right? This allows for us to still have some kind of naivete in this moment.
Well, it's like no one's
kind of
died yet, so it's okay.
Like there was a moment where they thought somebody died. He didn't die miraculously. They just have this freakish alien on his head, but like he's going to make it, damn it. Like they truly think that this is just something he's going to get over or something. But it's like, you don't understand how fucked this is.
Why don't you guys freeze him?
Funny. I remember laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. Why don't they? I mean, I think they think about that in the second one. Like, yeah, just fuck it. That's the easiest way to do it. It's just cryo them. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I love how though, one of the true benefits of just watching this movie blindly, right? Like, unfortunately, I can't do that anymore. But everything that happens here is a discovery, right? Everything feels like so novel and unexpected, right? This is the kind of movie where you have all these little reveals that can only be done once, really.
Yeah, it's an outside context problem, and I think it's probably really great. Like it's like when you're watching a movie, like, and the characters don't know what a fucking werewolf is, so they find out. So they have to find out the rules of how a werewolf works. Like this is actually pretty interesting because like you can see how they're solving things from first principles, And
what if they had seen the movie Alien and they were ironically commenting on like the
oh
alien?
no, that'd be so much better,
Yeah, they just assumed like they expected because we had watched those movies, we were just familiar with those points, so we would like not enjoy them, so they have to just constantly call attention to them, just like, hey, we're doing it again.
Let's call a robot a bitch for some reason. That'll make that'll make this next part really interesting and fun.
Jeez Louise.
But yeah, that's what it feels like. Just to go from Mikhail was saying, like it feels like everything is so like cleanly done. Like, what are the rules of this thing? And I love that the answer is there's no fucking rules.
Well, speaking of no fucking rules, we should talk about when John Hurt wakes up.
But wait, what about come on? But I did want to talk about that point where, right, like they want to remove the thing, right? And that's where they get the acid for blood reveal, right? And I just love how suddenly it's like, what the fuck, like, and the thing like burns through, I think, like 3 levels or whatever.
Yes, it almost gets to the hole. It's crazy.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where you kind of shouldn't question the. I mean, wait a minute, but how is it like able to keep itself inside that body or something? I mean, like it's really powerful acid that burns all of this, but then you know what I mean? It's like,
what if it burns through the hole? They all get sucked out and die right there. Do you think Weyland-Yutani had a contingency ship, like another crew that was like maybe like a couple of years out, that they'd be like, okay, we'll just wait.
Maybe that's what Ash is for, because technically he wouldn't like need.
He would
atmosphere.
still live. He doesn't need air. Yeah,
exactly. Right. So I think maybe that's why he was there. Like, hey, if everyone else dies, you're not gonna kill you, for no reason. But no, like, that's what I like about it, because like it's alien. Like nothing about it makes sense, and I think that also extends. This is why I don't like the director's cut. Just that much. I don't think there's need for any of the extended scenes, but I do really fucking love let's just talk about it now. We're not, fuck it. Is the fact that it's turning all the other victims into eggs? Because like, doesn't fucking matter. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just another thing. It's just another thing that this thing can do, and you're never going to be able to second guess it. You know, acid blood. It fucking bursts out of your out of your chest. It grows fucking 10 times its size in an hour. I mean, and then it just makes more. It just makes you into more of it. So like, it's alien. Like it's just it. It's alien. It's unknowable.
And like, what does it eat? Because it's not eating the people. So you're like, does it even have a food source? So you're like, it just lives like from nothing.
I gotta tell you guys, I remember distinctly, like, I think it must have been like 20 years ago when I'm rewatching this movie on DVD with my parents, and you know, we get to that part where they find the skin, like the patch of skin, like a snake shed, like a snake sheds its skin when it grows, right? And my dad raises the question, wait, like, how did it grow like 10 how did it grow like to that like size? Like, I mean, what did it eat? Or and I'm like saying, well, you know, it just up and grew. My dad like kind of goes, what do you mean it up and grew? I mean, the law of conservation of mass is like, and I'm like, Dad, this is a movie. Okay, come on. It's like it's not, it doesn't make sense, but it like,
it defies logic. That makes it scarier. Well, and while it was inside, Hurt was eating, so it got nutrients from that.
Yeah, I think I remember reading maybe like somewhere that I think in reference to the novelization, maybe it was the novelization that supposedly they were supposed to find like some locker or whatever, like it had gotten into this food supply and taken into and like consumed a lot of their stores or something.
I think that's right, but again, I think that's better that we don't see, because it just raises more questions about the nature of this thing. Of like,
like,
does it eat? Like it seems like it has acid blood, which you're like, does it burn through its own skin? Like, what the fuck is this?
And that's a trick I think that the other movies kind of missed out on, is that we should have found out more fucked up shit this thing can do. You're right. Rather than being like, okay, this is all the stuff it can do. Like, no, there should be like 15 other steps to this thing.
They explain it more in sequels in a way that demystifies instead of a way that baffles us, instead of a way that raise more questions. Which is like when we get to Prometheus, the thing I like about that is that it just adds questions to how the nature of any of this works. So like, I think adding more questions is better.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay. My take on that is, the more you show of a creature like this, you know, the more, you know, you have to explain it. And the more you explain it, the more you demystify it. That's just very natural. That's a very organic part of the process. I will say that if there is one thing that I liked at all about Alien Romulus, you know, and again, that's a movie that I hate. I actually kind of like that they kind of delve into how the xenomorph grows, because you might remember there was that whole thing where it turns out like it creates like a cocoon, you know, and goes through this, and then it bursts out as the adult xenomorph out of that cocoon. So clearly it needs some time to, I guess, I don't know, gestate or whatever, you know, like,
and the cocoon itself looks cool. Like that is I do agree that I don't like Romulus, but I do like the idea of it gestating in the, well, because it's also like clearly like bug coated, you know, so like that fits with in terms of like a parasitic bug, you know, like I was listening to Ridley's commentary in terms of like that's just like what is just kind of trying to evoke is like a bug, it's laying its eggs in something else, and then it, you know, comes out of that. So it's like, yeah, it can cocoon itself.
Yeah. And you know, like hornets and bees and stuff like that. I mean, I remember, you know, there was that hilarious Futurama episode, I think, where they literally had like space bees, you know. But the whole other story.
So next we are we're talking about the alien planet. Yeah, really great stuff. And so they lots of character work going on here, man. Who wants to take the next beat here? I'm not a bit.
Maybe we're talking about the like chest bursting scene, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so, like
he wakes up, he's fine. He's great.
right? Like that. Like if you don't know that you're watching a horror movie by this point, like this is like a stop here, turn back now, or you're in for some real danger.
This is a movie about coworkers eating, as far as I'm concerned. They had a weird detour on some planet, and mostly they've just been chilling on the ship and eating.
Their friend got a tummy ache, but he's all better now, like he's eating his favorite food, and now they can drink some coffee and go to bed, But no, it's not what's gonna happen. I feel like this is like a legendary, like everybody loves this, like this classic YouTube thing, like Spaceballs parodied, for God's sakes, like John Hurt having that thing fly out of him, all the ADR, right? This is
not again. But I guess like I think just watching that again, it really I would say normally I would be really just like wondering why the hell is nobody raising an alarm about like this whole thing. But again, there's something about the way it's just presented that I'm not really questioning it, or at least I don't feel the inclination to. There just feel, and I'm sure and I'm wondering were people wondering, like when they just, Kane wakes up, were people wondering in the theaters at the time, oh, like what's going to happen? Some other shoe's about to drop, or was it again like a full on shock to the system when it's like, what the hell, like when the chest burst happens?
Well, so we're halfway through the movie, so you kind of hope that something's going to happen. And that's great, right? Isn't that like fucking like amazing that we're like the movie's halfway over at this point, and yet like it's like, but like it's enthralling you all along the way, because like every little beat is like such a atmospherically tense situation. Like we're like every single part of this is like its own little journey. I like to call it like the King Kong effect. You're on the boat, you're at the island, you're back in New York. All these little beats are like are on their own entertaining as hell.
And they're like little sections, like
exactly.
little journeys. But then also there's another thing too, where it's like this movie understands that once the cat's out of the bag, you can't really put the cat back in the bag, right? Like you can't like draw it out for too long, or else it'll feel too cheap, right? And the moment that the chest burster comes out of John Hurt's chest, it's like things just keep ramping up faster and faster. So it's like they definitely know that they need to get this guy, this alien creature that's running around their ship now, but we see as like it has the taste for one human, it's just going to keep on chowing down.
Well, it's speaking to the point of like why, in terms of like the character's logic of like, Ripley made the to-do of like we can't let him on because of quarantine protocol, but then once he wakes up, he's just eating with them. I feel like they defer so much to, we said like all this stuff is mostly automated. Like someone probably, they've checked with Mother, and it's like Mother would have told us if, we were supposed to quarantine him, or, not let him mingle with the rest of the crew. So everything must be fine. Like the computer hasn't told us something's wrong, so it's good.
Yeah, Ian Holm hasn't told us anything's wrong. He probably, gave him a clean bill of health before he sent him to the.
I mean, he did a scan. He did a scan of the body, so he knows. Like it's implicit that he knows.
He would have told us if something was wrong on the scan, so that's supposed to be good.
But I do like that Sigourney was like, we're probably all gonna need to be in quarantine for a long time. She knows, like, this, even if they go back to Earth, like all free sailing, clear skies, like they're not. It's gonna be a fucking hassle by the time they get there. When they get there, like this, we're gonna do some more, company bullshit, and it's like that's so real. Like, you got through this life, endangering experience. Like you're just gonna have to be like stuck in a warehouse, under medical surveillance for like a month. Great shit. And then he dies, and it's fucking gross. And so I love the little bullet shape.
Listen, isn't it amazing though? Like you said, it's like an hour into the movie, right? Like, and this is actually the first time somebody dies. I mean, it's kind of a slasher movie, right? But our first casualty just arrives like an hour into the film. Everybody up until now, like, we've not had any death, like any murders, like whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it's like the shoe drops, and then it's like now all the bets are off, right? This
Exactly.
this world is irreversibly changed at this point, and the illusion of like, I just want to get home to like a warm bed, or I want to get home to get a raise or whatever, that's out the window,
I
right?
just want
Now
to
it's just
survive
I
the
want to
night.
get exactly right. So again, like going back to like the simple motivations, right? Because everybody had the same motivation before, I just want to go fucking home, and the motivation is still technically the same, just in a different tenor. I just want to get fucking home because I want to survive. It's a great way in terms of not complicating the narrative, right? It's still the same track, but the threat is far different. The existential is now the literal.
100%.
We had talked about the Jones jump scare, but I want to talk about the wet chain room, because I mean, like, the production design in this movie is incredible. And like, I feel like people have always made that joke of like, whose idea was it to have like a wet chain room on the ship? But it's supposed to be like that this is like the landing leg like compartment or whatever. And Ridley in the commentary was saying like, because he kind of has like an in his mind a justification for all these things, well, either a practical justification for it or just like a narrative emotional justification for it. But here, in terms of like, why would there be like water in this compartment? He's like, well, that's condensation from the air conditioner.
I thought I read somewhere that it was supposed to be like coming maybe from their water source or whatever. I'm not sure. Maybe I made that up.
But it's condensation of some kind. But I never question it. I'm just like, hell yeah, wet chain room. Yeah. I mean, it's sad because Harry Dean Stanton dies, and I'm like, oh man, so goodbye to his Hawaiian shirt. Which also Ridley Scott also has an explanation of like, why does this guy in space have a Hawaiian shirt? Because in his mind, since they're basically space truckers, that there's like truck stops in space, but with gift shops, and he just like stopped at a gift shop and got a Hawaiian shirt.
I fucking love Ridley's mind, man. I love how acerbic he is too. Have you guys ever seen those Down Chunder videos?
No.
They're like basically they're like highlights of his audio commentaries for different movies, right? And like the ones he did, like they're like it's so great, like the ones for Alien and for the Prometheus and Covenant movies, like just like he's just like, oh, he's so fucking pissed about everything. like it's great. Like
or just how matter of fact he is about stuff. Because like when he's talking about like how he got such a freaked out reaction from the cat, it's like, yeah, we had a dog there, and like there's a screen between the dog so the dog couldn't get to the cat, but then we just lifted the thing so the cat could see the dog, and the cat freaked out. Yeah, that's great.
I remember there was an interview with Ridley a couple of years ago. I think it was for Napoleon. And at the end of it, he tells the interview, I think the interviewer asked him a question or made a statement that Ridley didn't like. So he responds, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, go fuck yourself.
Was it when they were asking him about cannons firing at the pyramids or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Ridley is a master shit talker, right? Like one of those like master curmudgeons, right? Yeah.
You know what? F it. If I made something like this, I'd fucking tell everyone that too. But also, like, I just love how like visceral and clear this scene is, because like it's so stark white. Like I think all of the living quarters are like day glow, like luminescent, and so I think that like a lot of times seeing something like this starkly like defined and this starkly lit up, it would be to his detriment. But just the way it's so like intrusive, the blood splatter, this thing, it's the way it's so disconnected from this environment, it makes it work. Like it's like oh, it's an completely kind of punch of an image.
And then even though Kane was our first death, like this is the first like, that was like part of the life cycle. That's like the alien being born. This is, now that it's alive, Harry Dean Stanton's its first kill. And the fact that it also happens in isolation, like there's no one there with him to see. I mean, the cat's the only witness, but like he dies alone.
Well, actually, I really love that the cat is there, right? The fact that there's like these reaction shots of like the cat that's like looking at the alien as it's feasting and stuff. And there's something about that, right? The two animals kind of coming into contact with one another. right? Like that.
Mm.
I just love how that's a further escalation, as you're saying, Doug. Of like we've only seen what it come out of the chest. We're now seeing it feast.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this scene is, I think, interesting for so many different reasons. I mean, this is the first time we get to actually see the adult xenomorph. This is like the big reveal, right? This movie, and just the way that they parse it out, like the way that shape, just like enters. I think like the frame. I mean, you see it like I think it starts with it lowering behind him, right?
Right.
And then like you just can't, and even then it's like I think like there is this almost this kind of slowness, right? Like it kind of with the six fingers, like over his face and everything, almost something sexual right there a little bit, and then it's like just those brief snippets of like the attack. I mean, God, like that stuff is just so amazing. I'm not scared of it anymore, like as an adult, but just I have to admire just like the way that it's all staged and cut together. But also, Tony, to the point where, to your point of like saying like how he dies, it's really weird. But the idea was though that Brett and Parker are supposed to be in the room because like or maybe it was Ripley.
It was going to be Yefet
right?
Koto and maybe Ripley were there too. I think originally. Yeah.
Well, there's a deleted scene where they run in right after him, like when it kind of like carries him up, and then in the next scene, which is in the theatrical cut, it says like, "Yeah, man, it was big. We saw it. It was like but it's like, wait a minute, but he died alone. The cat was the only witness, and they're saying, oh, whatever grabbed him, it was big, so."
But there's something to the way that everybody is dying, right? Where it's like John Hurt's character, he died in front of everybody, but that was kind of like the gloves coming off, right? Everybody else who dies for the most part is, in isolation, like they're lured out by themselves and then they're taken out. Right. And there's something about that where, obviously the tagline, as we brought up before, no one can hear you scream, but then it's also like, in death, it is really a solitary action, right? And like it only is between you and what caused it.
And I think what that also points to, at least in the back of your head, is that everything before this, they could take action on. Like there was, like they had an external sort of perspective that they could have agency with. But now that this thing is out in the world, that is the spaceship, it is acting with its own agency. It's acting with its own mythology, like it has strategy. It can think, like it's doing these things strategically, right. And that's what adds a little more tension, because like you're not just a monster, it's making these moves purposely. It is hiding. It is lowering itself slowly, being quiet, being very sort of stealthy. It's like these are intelligent actions, and that's scary.
And that there's nothing you can do when you're facing down death, because it's like when Harry Dean Stanton sees this thing before the other jaw extends and gets him, that like you said, Mikhail, like I'm not scared anymore of the scene itself of the alien, like that part, but I'm scared when I see Harry Dean Stanton's face looking at it, because he doesn't even know what he's looking at. I mean, like they saw last thing they saw a thing that was like so small, and now it's like grown like 10 times in a short amount of time. But then also like he like, I'm sure he knows that he's a goner, but he's not like trying to run away or begging for his life, right? He's just like looking at it like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I think he's just kind of, it's like he's so terrified he can't like run. It's just, this thing is beyond his comprehension. It's, I don't know if a lot of people talk about Alien as cosmic horror, but definitely.
I brought up, like I mentioned, it's very Lovecraftian.
Yeah, it is definitely Lovecraftian, because it's like this otherworldly entity. And what do you guys think of the original design of this xenomorph? I think they called it Big Chap or something.
Yes, and I love it because it's even now it is just a little bit more off than the other suit actors we've seen. I think the guy behind Big Chap was very unique. So I think that it really carries through. I think a lot of the other aliens look too reasonably proportioned, and this one's like a little bit off.
Well,
This is
doesn't
the
matter.
best. This is the best it's looked. I mean, like,
Yeah.
because like I've seen people be like, "Oh, well, you know, they refined it. It didn't look like a guy in a suit." I'm like, "Guy in a suit is better."
Yeah, because like here's the deal, right? Like I don't really care what the proportions are. Like when you got him like getting incinerated by the flame, I'm like cheering. You know, I'm not going like, oh, the suit doesn't look right. You know, I'm going like, hell yeah, that alien got burnt up, right? So like when we're getting all of this stuff, like when we're inside of the ship, we're only getting it in cast and shadows. The most that we can ever tell that it's a guy in a suit is like when he attacks Tom Skerritt in the vent, right? Like everything about this is so intentional and how it's captured and how it's shown to you that you only really get like glimpses, which allows for you to like look in the shadows and try to discern if that's what the alien is or not. And that's a good quality to have in your film, right? When you're so focused about the design and showing it off, there's a bit of a mystery that's lost. And the fact that for so long in this film, you don't even really know what this thing looks like is just such a power.
Yeah.
I just want to add that I love how and this movie started it, but the alien just often disappears into the environment. You're not really sure whether it's like, wait, is that like is that the xenomorph or is that like a tube of some sort, right? Like the movies, this film started that thing where, and I think it's almost like a running joke in the sequels where you can't tell sometimes. Right, like is that part of the wall? Is that like the thing? What is going on? You know, like
There's like a
it's
biomechanical sheen to like it's you know, exoskeleton, whatever you want to call it, skin or whatever. So like it like blends in with the machinery and
Exactly.
the environment.
And like I think that that's all something that I think you see that right from the jump, right from the Harry Dean Stanton scene, because like it is our first shot of it is like it's enmeshed within the chains, and so like I think it's a little more clear there than some of the other examples throughout the film. But like even then, like it's trying to do a kind of camouflage, and I think like its carapace, yeah, it's got a very bio-organic, mechanical, organic kind of way. It's got like lots of ridges and nozzles and like hard right edges. It's so great. Like what the fuck is this thing?
Wait, does it have ridges really? I mean, because my impression is like
the spines, the spines. Yeah,
it's more
right.
rippled, like chips. Like that's what it's got going on.
Yeah,
yeah. I thought of the chips too.
Every time I see it, I'm just like, well, you gotta wonder. Wait a minute, does it have eyes or not? Does it see like how because like mostly what you're seeing, it's almost like this weird, like this kind of weird form with a mouth.
It's got a visor. Like, what the fuck is that a visor for? Like, how does it make that? Like, what is this thing?
Well, I really just hope a later movie explains that they, hunt using like heat, and that's how they see.
I forgot they said that.
I just need that clarified. In Romulus, they'd be like that. That's how if you like cool yourself down, the face huggers can't see you or whatever.
Which is just patently incorrect because these aliens clearly use.
There was one that was set in the fucking Antarctic, man. Like, how think you get it cooler than that?
When you get the rare body temperature.
Okay, and if they did that in Romulus, that is like totally a ripoff from. Oh my god, what's the name of that giant Tremors? That
oh my god,
it's to rip off of Tremors. You're right.
Are you saying Alien Romulus is an original?
Oh my god!
From other movies.
Anyway, at this point, so we get to like I think my favorite scene in the movie, where they're like, okay, we need to take offensive action, and they decide on the stupidest fucking plan I've ever heard.
Let's someone directly in harm's way.
Exactly. Let's just go with a flamethrower and a little beeping thing, and like it's like why not you're just making yourself bait. You need get someone with a beeping thing, and then you get the flamethrower. 2-man team, okay? You have both. You're fucked, okay?
I just love sci-fi and sci-fi horror flamethrower action. Like I love it in The Thing. I love it in Them, the giant ant movie. Like it just looks cool to have a flamethrower and use it against an alien.
Sorry, I just want to say, but we never actually see the alien being burned with the flamethrower, do we?
No.
No, Ian
Yeah.
Holm gets burnt with the flamethrower. That's the fun
Right.
thing. But like, what I love about the flamethrower, especially in this movie, but in a lot of other older movies too, is like where they have like the flamethrowers that still have the bit of flame at the front, like they're always on kind of thing, right? And they're kind of carrying around an open flame and using that as like
That's how you know
their
it
torch.
shoots. If it didn't have the
Exactly.
flame at the tip, I'd be like, "Is that a water gun?" No.
Oh, is it an electric gun? Is he going to shoot electricity?
Yeah. What element comes out of this thing?
No, but it's just such an atmospheric thing, and it's allowing him to even like light the rooms and stuff as he's going through these catacombs. And in this instance, we get like a franchise staple, I guess it will become, but this whole like tracker, right? The idea that you're just looking at the screen and you can see where the alien is, you can see where the person is, right? There's something so simple about it, right? But it's like that there's only two different ways to the vent. Tom Skerritt doesn't know which way. They don't know which way he's looking. So it's just like everybody's in panic, and you're just seeing these slow zooms.
And there's no x-axis or
Mhm.
y-axis,
Yep.
And so like but they're using what they can, this is a clunker, like so it's inventive, it's intuitive. I do give them credit, but it's also the stupidest thing they can do.
Oh, for sure.
And so I want to bring back to the comic for a bit, because I do love Yafiko. Like, we're not going to draw straws or some shit. I love his line.
Yep.
In the comic, they do. They do draw lots, and so it's like, fuck, I can't believe it was me. He's the character that goes on this little escapade. It's like does not go with the best of dignity, and then it ends up being even more of a complete mess. And everyone was like, oops. It's like, oops, I guess we just made it even worse. So I think, the comic is really funny, I think, in this part. But
I need to read the comic.
Oh, but this is such a great escalation scene, because all that Tony was saying, right? It's like it's such it puts you in such an unease, because again, you don't know. You only know like two variables, something that has like 10 different ones. And so even when it comes to the payoff, when you actually get to that like jump scare, it's like it does come out of nowhere, and because you don't even really know the orientation here, and it's very quick, it's very effective, even if it's a little bit silly if you are like just not invested into the emotion and the tension of the scene, if you're like kind of out of it or outside of it, but it's really good.
When he kills him, like the xenomorph kind of like opens his arms and he's like,
ah!
and so he's taking the hug.
Come here!
No blood, no Dallas, man. We don't know what the xenomorph did to him unless you watch the cocoon sequence.
Yeah, which is great. It's a great sequence. I'm glad they didn't keep it, because you don't need it. But again, I love that we're always finding out new shit about this thing.
Yeah, I do like that idea, but I mean, we'll talk about later sequel of like what they add to the life cycle. But the cocoon thing like just makes sense to me in terms of like capturing a person and then cocooning them, like that tracks to me logically.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, it brings to the question, like, is there like a common ancestor here? Like what is it going to do? What kind of thing coming from that? Is it going to be more of them or something completely new? It's crazy.
Right, because it's like it almost seems designed to use us as host,
Ridley Scott, he thinks like 10 steps ahead, man. What can we say? But it's a great scene.
I think it's just, it is very suspenseful, I mean, scared or not, it's just like, I watched it and I'm like, man, yeah, they really, just the way, the cutting starts to increase, the music like turns up, it's like, it's getting closer, and you see it only through that little blip, right? Like on the tracker screen. I mean, yeah, it is an amazing, it is a great example of how to generate legitimate tension, right? And I just love how it cuts to Ian Holm, and Ian Holm has this
stone face.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like sweating and crying and freaking out. They're all flushed. They're all red. They are like in the worst day of their lives. And Ian Holm's like,
interesting.
Exactly. At this point, all pretense is gone. I love that. Exactly. I love that. Like, you might not really notice it because you're along for the ride as well. You know, it's like such a quick thing. So like you could definitely get you understand that's what the fuck is going to happen next if you know if you're like a big kind of genre nerd. But like even then, like the rest of the scene is obscuring it. It's like keeping it in the foreground because it's so expressive. Like it's a heightened emotion scene. And I love it. It's my favorite scenes in the entire series because everything is working against you. You know, everything is working against you. You are in a vent.
You're hell.
Death is coming for you, and you can't really do it. You see it on a screen, but you also don't know like exactly what direction it's coming from. You just know it's coming towards you.
You have one shot that's not even guaranteed to work, and it does. It's amazing.
You don't even have one of those smart guns.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's like that moment, for example, where
just point and shoot.
Well, yeah, but like, you know, like, I mean, he has like the gun, but it doesn't really do anything. And I mean, he looks at there's that shot, for example, that I like to watch a few times over because it's like Dallas seems to look out. I think maybe he looks up or something, and maybe you might. It's like I think you slightly see some sort of shadow move up there or whatever. It's ever so brief, but I'm just like always. Like, you know, you see that and you're wondering, okay, is it there or is it not? Or was that just like a trick of the light, you know, like from that flamethrower? It is great. And I don't know, has anybody here played the Alien Isolation video game?
No.
I actually
Alien
have
Isolation, yes.
It's been on my list for a while, but I need to play it.
I have. It's a great game.
Yeah, but you know, I have not played it, but I've seen the playthroughs, and some of those playthroughs are actually were terrifying because it's like they really take that idea of just having to track the alien with the tracker and seeing that thing. It's extremely effective. Like it's like they expounded, you know, they kind of built the game out. I feel almost from this like one sequence in the movie, you know. And
you're hitting the nail on the head. That's what it is. Yeah, but like that's what the game is like when it's most successful. It's like the alien AI is impossibly smart and it will outsmart you at points, and you're like, oh, this is great. The problem with that game is you actually end up fighting a lot of androids, so like it's really lame. And also if we're talking about alien game recommendations, Aliens Fireteam Elite like is actually really good. If you guys haven't played it,
I bought it on sale and then I never played because I bought a friend got it, but then he never like wanted to play it, so I still haven't played it yet.
It's like Left 4 Dead in the Alien universe.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
It's better than World War Z.
Isn't there like a level on like an engineer planet or something in that or something?
That might be DLC, or I haven't gone to it, but like,
okay,
like there's a lot of like classic Alien shenanigans is all what I'll say.
Okay, cool.
All right. So at this point, we get to again. We're on no stops here. Once this thing is out of its cage, everything substantial starts crumbling as it go. Dallas is fucking dead. So the captain's gone. You know, all we have here are just the rest of the people who just can't stand each other. There's not really a guiding force anymore. You know, there's
everyone's just kind of screaming and yelling at each other, right? Like they're like everyone's losing it.
Yeah, they're stressed. Like, what if, like, imagine McCready died like in the thing, like halfway through. Like, what the fuck is gonna happen next? Like, it all starts fumbling out. Like, and so Ripley has the very reasonable, you know, decision to go consult Mother. And this is where we get like the thesis statement of this entire fucking franchise. It turns out that they were running wild gooses the entire time and they were never expected to come back. And so there's no point of any of this. There's no point. So then I love how Ian Holmes pops up like, yeah, don't worry, I can explain. There's a reasonable explanation for this.
The explanation is you're fucked.
I just love how the information of this big reveal is just conveyed in the matter that it's conveyed as, right? It's just a text. Yeah, it's a matter of fact. It's a text upon the screen. Nobody reads the dialogue out loud, right? Like there's no real, you know. So you're, as the viewer, you're expected to pay attention to the subtitles in this case, so to speak. And yeah, I just love how, like, you know, like override, what is like directive, you know, blah blah blah, crew expendable. You know, it's very terse. It's very straight to the point, like, and also quite shocking. But I just love the way that they deliver this info to us, right? Like no real dramatics, no reiteration, and then it's just like, yeah, like, and Ian Holm. It's interesting here how the alien kind of for I don't know how long this sequence of events is. I think it may be around what, like 5-10 minutes. But you know, it's like the alien right now is even in the background. Here it's like where Ian Holm sort of steps up like into the role of the villain.
Yes,
basically.
yeah, he becomes like the human threat that, or not so human threat that they should have been paying attention to the whole time. And also on that note of flipping perspectives, right? Like this is when Ripley becomes the protagonist point of view character, right? And it also is a situation where, like, if you had not been watching this movie, like if you're watching this movie for the first time or whatever, like they certainly would show her doing the right thing, right? But she was often sidelined, right? Like she wouldn't be like framed like front and center at all times. So this is where the movie is just being like, nope, now from now on we recognize the fact that she was actually like pretty reasonable the entire time. She was the one who was trying to move this to a less escalatory place, and now she's going to have to come to terms with the person who's trying to push it forward. And the idea that Holm tries to choke her with the newspaper, I always thought was
so disturbing.
It's like a Playboy. Yeah.
Like rolling up the page. I'm like, that's such a, because you think of Android be like, it would just be a very clinical, like more direct way of kill. Like, oh, it could just come, just snap your neck or something with Android strength in its hands, right? It's like, no, it's gonna choke you with a rolled up magazine.
It's a porno mag too. That's the thing. It's the intent. Yeah. It's like if you like right there, everything around there is like naked pictures of like cut out from Playboys. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I've seen that scene many times, right? Like so many times, and it's just I'm just wondering. Wait a minute. So did he just go insane in that moment? Because you see this thing where it's like you think he's sweating finally, but it's not even sweat. It's like this weird white fluid.
Here's my guess. So I'm watching this. Here's my theory. I know that later on we understand the white fluid is like robot blood, right?
He's a soy boy.
But in the beginning, we see him like eating cereal. Like, what if he just stays inside him?
Because there's no digestion system.
Yeah, so we see him eating cereal. So like maybe that's just where the milk sits.
Sure. That's what you're saying is he has an eating disorder.
But I do love that because like I think that this is a great presaging of characters like David, because like when he's there, like he can kill Ripley easily. Like, we see here that he's like he's a robot android strength, right? He's pushing Yaphet Kotto around. He's like whacking him around like silly. But like he becomes really frustrated. Like there's such like an intense pain on his like face. Like he's like so he's there. He's trying to be cruel about it. Like he could just kill her, but he's intentionally trying to be cruel. Like he's making that active decision, which I think really makes Ash like really interesting. Like what is motivating him? And maybe it's just really he's really fucking petty. He come to know his people and he doesn't like them.
I think he's got a prime directive, right? And at this point, he's very similar to the alien, right? Where his number one goal is just to get this thing back, right? He's probably going to die in the process anyways, right? For the thing's going to sniff him out and do it too. But all he wants to do is to make sure that anything or anyone who may be coming to terms with his plans, right? Like the fact that he gets the inkling that Ripley could be getting in this way, he's going to take her out, right? And it's like the moment that everybody else sees that he's turned this way, right? Like the facade is totally broken. He's not going to try to reason with them. He's not going to convince them that he's like a normal robot or whatever. He's like, no, he's on the offensive now. He's going to grab Yaphet Kotto's man boob and twist it, and it's going to hurt,
It's just that he's choosing to do it in such an unusual and cruel way where it's like, just kill them. Like, why are you playing with them?
He starts shaking it's, I think it is like an interesting facet of his character. Like what's the motivating personality there?
I mean, look, my take on it. No, but look, my take on it is that there clearly is some sort of mental breakdown happening, right? Like his sense of it's like his composure, his calmness, like he starts to, he makes this murmur of a sound, like something like that before he so it's kind of like, it's almost like he is not even in control of his own body anymore. I mean, I guess like one way of maybe one thing one could read into it is that like maybe he doesn't necessarily want to be doing all of this, so there's some sort of an internal, I don't know, like
conflicting
conflict or whatever.
programming, like in
Yeah.
terms of like there's his Weyland Yutani directive, and then there's like the baseline coding of androids of like I don't know are they built with Asimov's laws, like, and they're not supposed to hurt humans.
Or maybe he's a medical doctor, so he is supposed to kind of protect people. Who knows? In my mind,
you know what? I love the way this line thing is going, because it makes his last lines really interesting in your you and Doug's perspective. It really does.
Well, just to also go further, just on the noise department, right? Like I love when Kodo hits him with the fire extinguisher and he starts like rolling around on the walls. He's going like it's just one of my like it's a creepy moment in context, but I always laugh when I see it.
It is, because it's like little chip rings. It's so good.
It is, but I also will say it's interesting how the effects work on the like arguably has not aged that well. I mean, like later when they whenever I see that moment where they bring his head back online, I can clearly see the moment where they cut from the prop head to the real Ian Holm, right? It's like so glaringly obvious. Yeah, but at the same time,
works.
It works. It works, and I gotta tell you, it is a lot less problematic in my mind than what they do with the Ian Holm replica in Romulus. Like, I mean,
oh my god, it's ridiculous. I mean, let's say it. Ian Holm. We're talking about a lot of what makes Ian Holm's character Ash tick, right? I think he's like a really interesting character. And that's because Ian Holm brings a lot of these different facets into it. Like, there's so many decisions that he makes in his performance that are so fucking interesting and
like a theater actor, right?
And enigmatic. Yeah, vague. Like there's lots of intuition going into it. Like there's like so many little minute little choices that make up like Ash being such an interesting character. Just to even watch in the background. And fuck Romulus, man, Jesus Christ, for that, for that. I mean, come on, like you're it's like an all-time like really great performance, and what are we doing here? But let's talk about his last lines. I do want to go back to what you and Doug were
have my
saying.
Sympathies.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I admire its purity. It's only about thinking about survival, lack of conscience. You're right. But like
unburdened by morality.
Unburdened by morality. Yes, exactly. But what you and Doug were saying, like, hey, maybe like maybe he's conflicting. He has conflicting, orders or thought processes or whatever subroutines, right? And so maybe it's like, okay, like. Here are this organization, this company that is kind of using everyone else around them, using even me. I'm aware of it, right? And so there's people who are conflict, greed, capitalism, war, all this stuff. But like here is this thing, and it's just doing its thing. That's what it's just biologically programmed to do. You guys all have morals or standards, but you don't listen to me. You are active revolt against these things that you could do. That you could be, kinder, you could be more peaceful, you could treat each other with respect, but you're using everybody, you're making people into pawns, tools, just war machines, anything. And so like that guy, maybe he does actually give them their sympathies. It's like, but this is better than you because it only knows what to do. What it does, So I think that's a really good and interesting perspective on it.
Well, it's also like the classic escalation scene in any horror movie, right? Where it's like you've passed the point of no return, you're all fucked, right? Like we talked about Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is definitely in this as well, right? Like that's like the dinner table sequence in a way. It's like there's no going back. You are screwed, and it's great also to have it be told to you from this disembodied head, covered in like white fluid, right? And the fact that it ends with the characters responding by just like torching him, right?
Yeah.
The idea that like they hear this information and they respond in kind with the same kind of nihilism. Again, everything is just like we're so fucked.
Yeah, and again, like it's not an uncompelling argument, because think about like all the stuff that the themes are heading toward. Like is this is their position in this world really any different with this alien trying to run out to kill him? Like it's kind of, I might say it's like a horizontal change. It's kind of a parallel change, because like if it's not the alien, then it's this corporation. It's the company.
Exactly.
It's like
still ultimately a class issue
exactly.
at its heart.
mean, they could have sent like fucking, trained people, a whole expedition. But they didn't because it probably cost a lot cheaper.
It could have been a whole expedition of androids, but that would have been expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and it's interesting. Well, also, if it were a whole, if it was a whole expedition of androids, though,
You needed to infect someone.
Yeah, you
right?
needed
That's
to
what I was
infect
gonna say.
somebody. Yeah, but I think I also think it's interesting how we had not gotten any explicit. I don't think there was even a single mention of like robots or androids or synthetics, right? Like, so
No,
you
not
have these
until that point.
indications, right? Exactly. So this is a pretty big reveal. I mean, it's like suddenly you're like, oh, wait a minute, there are robots in this world who can look like humans, and
Well, it's
act
also
like
great that they
humans.
do that. It's great that they do that because going back to your point about aliens, right? Like how that's kind of like not so spectacular in this world, right? The fact that like when they find out it's a robot, they're just like, oh, great, it's a robot. Like they're not really excited to see a robot or anything. They're just like they're familiar with the existence of robots. They're just surprised that this happened to be a robot.
Yeah, like I mean, but for the viewer, this is brand new information, and I think it's fascinating how they never really tip their hand with it. I mean, you get the sense that something is off with Ash, and you see that this is a kind of an automated, future for the most part. I think, even though you do need human hands and all that, but still, right? But like there is literally nothing that would what's that word, not foreshadow, what's that lampshade or something. There's nothing to lampshade or I forget the word, but there's nothing to give away the fact that like home
Lampshade
is
was right.
Yeah.
No, because like
Okay.
during the scene, like he is eating with them, like he's doing there's clearly something off about him. So like if you've never seen this movie, you might think, oh, he just has space madness, That's,
Yeah, no.
you can catch that sometimes.
Well, on rewatches, you realize like he's not like eating like the rest of them like scarfing shit down. He's milling around with his cereal.
He puts some milk in his mouth.
And that's or like he's like, what
Blood.
would you have me do? I'm a doctor. I had to save his life. But when you see it, he just walks up to the airlock and it opens. He's not gonna rush. He's not. There's no. It's really good. There's no. He can smile. He's never seemed very cheery, but there's no like real in terms of the physicality. No real emotional intent behind how he moves his body until he's like, I've had enough of fucking Ripley. Time to just choke her to death. It's crazy. It's great.
I also think it's really interesting how this is really, the final scene with Ash is the only time when Ash is completely out and honest, about what he has nothing to hide anymore. So he can be completely, he can like really open up, so this is the only time when he's not, when it's not a facade, when he's not like trying to project some persona or guise or whatever, right? Like he's just basically being completely like honest about like I think it's fascinating that they give such a the end, right? Because I mean, he could have been just a plot device, but here, like, no, they have that really cool final scene where he even, I admire the alien, I admire its purity. Like I admire all that. And listen, can I have one more last word? Okay, like I don't know what your chances are, but you have my sympathy. Really great, just amazing final lines.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love it. Anyway, let's have him repeat let's have him repeat 3 of those lines for no fucking reason in a movie set 30 years later. Fuck.
And it's not even the same. That's not like it's Rook or whatever. Whatever. We'll talk.
Get it, Rook. Rook.
This is when the movie really kicks into high gear, right? This is like when it's like
the last 20 minutes. And
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
I love how the climax is handled in this movie. This is like if we're talking favorite scenes, it's like no, this is just like my favorite chunk. Like this is what really motors.
Yeah. Okay. Like what can we say?
We haven't talked about. We were highlighting other members of the cast, but like Veronica Cartwright is so good in horror movies at being like the one who like loses their cool.
Yeah,
because like she does that a lot of that same stuff in Invasion of the Body Snatchers
Yes.
too. Like she's so good at that.
I love it when the chest burst scene has happened. She goes, "Oh god, like she is so good in this.
Yes, like she like it's like it would be enough to be annoying, but she just plays it like so fucking viscerally grounded, like in like this is extremely realistic panic. I love
It's
it.
very human. It's like
Yes.
this is fucking freaky stuff. You should
Like-
all be
like
fucking
the-
screaming.
Like everyone was like really kind of frustrated as hell, but she is like she just wants to go, man. Like we said, like, everyone wants to just go home. Like she just really, if someone locked her out, I think she'd be much happier than being awake for any of this shit. Like that's my point of view.
Realistic depiction of a panic attack.
Exactly.
Happened first in Alien.
When are we gonna get a xenomorph getting a panic attack? That's my wonder.
It takes a nap later, but that's not a panic attack, but that could be a stress response. It's just, it's been through a
true.
lot.
Right? Yeah. No, it got overstimulated.
But yeah, no, like let's talk like so Yaphet Kotto and her get like cornered, or at least it corners, Veronica Cartwright. And
It goes
then,
with the tail between her legs is very unnerving.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's like because like I think of what we hear, I think that it's not like she probably gets like the fucking longest death of all these characters. Because she like
Yeah.
she's gutturally like reacting to whatever's happening to her for like a good like 40 seconds. It's like
We
what
I
see the most
remember-
with her too. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to say I remember because like I really used to go in depth on the DVDs, special features and stuff, and it's interesting how there seem to be, I think in the deleted scenes, text supplements. They had these like descriptions of it. There seem to be like these implications that maybe the alien did something to like Lambert, like that was like sexual violation, like some because like I think like they even
their
mentioned that like,
suggestion.
yeah,
Their suggestion,
yeah, like
With
her
the tail.
body, well, the tail, but also her body is, I think, naked, or at least implied to be like
Well, then
naked. I think.
Well, when we get to this, I'm looking at the part right now. When we get to that part, you see her leg is like the pant leg is missing on her dangling leg.
Mhm.
So like,
Yeah,
how
and I
did
think
that
it's like
happen?
hanging or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think it's like hanging off the wall or something. And I think they mentioned, like they even like the descriptions on the DVD kind of went into a bit of detail that like it was there's something in the final. So I think like there was even like a longer sequence where where you could actually see the alien sitting in the corner. I remember seeing that, like you literally see it like sitting in the corner and almost like waiting and like looking at her or something. So, ooh.
Yeah, very troubling implication. But I'm glad they leave that all to like the imagination or implicate. Like that makes it so that much more disturbing. Like I don't need like an actual like alien rape scene, but like like that, because then it's like it's not just feeding and killing. It almost goes against an
sadistic.
Yeah, because it does have desires beyond just like the base like
survival.
Like what's more interesting to me here is that this is the only time where somebody else is a witness to what this thing could do, right?
Mhm.
Like everybody else is killed in solitary, but now
they were in
the alien,
pairs this time. Yeah,
exactly. And now she can, like Kodo can see like what happens when this happens to somebody else, and allows for us as the audience to see that as well. And even then, it's not even that much, right? Like the fact that it is still so up to our imagination, it speaks to how tastefully this is all being done.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to say I love that shot when you see the alien like just sort of almost floating, kind of in slow motion. I think it's like approaching, like because it's just like the music, the Goldsmith score just ramps up so much. It's like you see,
Right.
so it's like almost like it's like almost like gliding or something, like like in slow mo. Towards her, and that's one of the few, I think, full of like what do you call like full facial shots of the creature that you see, and it is like glorious, right? Like it's just like the strategic placement of that. I mean, I don't know, I just admire that every time I see that sequence. That shot is always like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. So it's probably the funniest scene. So she's on a race against time to stop the self-destruction, and she arrived like 5 seconds too late to do that, and it's amazing.
but you think that she could do it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a moment where you're like, oh no, she's like so close. And also this is when we start getting a lot more of the handheld cinematography. And I
Mhm.
just love those shots of like we're seeing like from her perspective running down the ship. And think about that, right? Like we're watching a horror movie about a creature that's stalking everybody from the ship, and we haven't gotten a single perspective shot from the alien. We're only getting perspective shots from her at this point in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot more of that in the deleted scenes. So, I don't know. I think it works a lot better as tension is ramping up because it feels a lot more. You're in the actual, momentum with Ripley. Like it feels a lot more like you're you're as part of the action.
We need
As
to
it's very-
escape with her at this
Exactly.
point. It's like no one's safe. Let's get the fuck off the ship.
Who we're gonna be with the cat?
Speaking of the
Jonesy
cat,
vision.
can we speak up? Can we talk a little bit about Jonesy? I think it's very interesting.
That
what
they
this
have
movie's-
a cat.
Well, it's interesting that they have a cat, and I remember, from back, I think like in the VHS days, I think like my parents, when they saw the cat, there was always this suspicion that there was something going on with the cat. Like, wait, is the cat
Right.
like infected? Is the alien inside Jonesy or something? Like why doesn't the alien ever attack Jonesy? Really, the most that you see is that the cage gets knocked over, and I think like maybe there was like an extra shot of the alien actually knocking it over in the director's cut. But like the alien never really attacks the cat, and then you have this. And I remember like even reading some interviews where I think like somebody even asked Ridley Scott, "Oh, like after the movie, like, listen, is the cat infected? Is the cat like?" I think Scott was like, "What? No, there's nothing up with the cat. Why are you?" But
if
yeah, but
anything, yeah.
no, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, if anything, it's just like the ending is now going to do like the classic save the cat thing, right? Where it's just like now it's going to be about how do we get this human and this cat out of the scenario, right? And the audience is enthralled because it's such a baseline worry and want. But then it's also on that note of like the predator and why wouldn't it be eaten and stuff. The thing is that I get the impression that the xenomorph is like going after only what's like worthy or large, right? Like don't we even get a moment during this climax where like the cat could get eaten and it doesn't?
Well, it's like we're humans on the totem pole. We're directly under the xenomorph on the food chain. It's like the cat's
Exactly.
so much lower down on the rung. It's like I feel like that doesn't even register to the xenomorph.
Yeah, because there's multiple times where it's like direct, physical, like line of sight with it, and it just doesn't do anything. I think maybe is it because like they're similar creatures, very instinctual, or is it right because the xenomorph just doesn't care?
Well,
Because
and there's nothing it can do. Like if with the human, it can, like we see in the lead scene, it can make cocoons. It can eat like there's other. It's like the cat's like, what's that? That I can't do anything with that.
Yeah. But like as we're talking about the cocoons, like this is the part of the film where that scene happens. But I think this is really why it was a smart choice to delete it, because it does like fucking stop the momentum.
It breaks up the ramping up and this tension. Yeah.
Right. This should have happened right before that, like as an extra motivation for Ripley to try to stop everything. But this, and I want to go back. I want to say this about the Harry Dean Stanton death. This and the Harry Dean Stanton death scene, they feel like fucking Hellraiser. Like this is like someone going down to the pits of hell. That was the planet. The planet was hell. This is also fucking hell. Like it's like the way it's like cocoon, these like webbing everywhere. It's so like fucking disgusting and like dark and opaque, like obsidian, but like like these weird fucking curved shapes and everything, and it's making these characters into new eggs, and that was like fucking kill me. Like fuck yeah, man, this is like disgustingly depressing.
Well, they went down to hell, brought hell back with them, and it's like perverting the ship now. Like it's like also it's converting the human prey, but then like the ship itself is now becoming like hellish.
Yeah, because the walls of the ship itself are like like it's like part of the cocoon, but it's like they're morphing the walls as well into whatever, and we see that more in the sequel. But it's
also
great here.
like there's also the direct parallel with like how they woke up, right? Like they woke up from cryosleep from a ship that they call Mother, right?
Mm.
And now the Mother is being corrupted by this new species, right? It's like a
Returning to the womb.
well, it's like a new womb is taking over almost, right?
Mhm.
It's like this is a more powerful species, right? So it's like human biology is being like usurped in this moment, right? So it's like, yeah, you're right, Elvis. There is this like maternal thing that's happening at the beginning of the movie, and Ripley certainly wants to return to the womb in quotations at the end of the film. But what's so much more interesting is the fact that they can't go back. Instead, something more sinister has taken its place.
Look at me. I'm the mother now.
Exactly.
But like, yeah, so again, that's why I love that scene. I just wish it worked better inside the what's going on, because basically everything here should just be she has to get to the fucking escape pod. Like there's no stopping for that. And I think that's what
Like you said, if
Ripley-
they placed it somewhere different, then that would have worked better. But as is, it's better just to cut it. Like the theatrical just works as a smoother experience.
Yeah, because like Ripley is more of a straight-minded individual. I think it helps like to sell that. Like she's just beelining toward the fucking the escape pod.
I remember that Ridley Scott literally said that the reason why that cocoon sequence was cut was literally just because of the pacing, because it slowed down the pace too much in the final 17 minutes of the movie, so it had to go. Yeah, I definitely think it could have worked somewhere else, that it would have been better. But I think it's also good that it's not there, because it still leaves a lot more about the creature, to be discovered, to be maybe answered later, because if the scene is in the movie, yeah, then you have a better idea of its life cycle. It's a reveal about its life cycle. And hell, maybe some people would be happy that that the life cycle were revealed, so then we wouldn't get an alien queen later on. But I'm not one of them.
I mean,
well, to me, like it gives you a link in the life cycle, but also raises questions of like, because it's like a lot of the xenomorph like defies like normal physiology. Like, how does that work? Like it turns a person into an egg. What?
Yeah.
Were all of those eggs former other beings? Like again, that's
what
why I
came
like
first, the person or the egg?
Exactly. So that's why because it's alien, and everything about this makes sense. There's a life cycle, and there's a logic to the life cycle. The life cycle itself, fucking nonsense. But I love that. I love it. And again, no matter what people think, I think that part still is like intact. But anyway, so she she makes her way. She finally, after like 3 levels of this intense road trek she's on, she makes her way to the escape pod with Jonesy.
Climbs out of hell.
Yeah, and yeah, no, the ship explodes and it all works out well. And then this is where the people who watched Romulus stop watching the movie, because the rest of the fucking nothing else makes fucking sense.
How could they stop the movie? They would have missed out on Sigourney Weaver's Yoko Ono-esque butt crack.
Yeah, I really want to talk about this whole 4th act business, because I find it fascinating. Because originally, from like you read enough, like you find out, okay, so apparently, yeah, like Ridley Scott supposedly is the one who thought up, doing a 4th act where it turns out the alien made it to the shuttle. But before that, apparently, like in the script, like the alien was supposed to. There was supposed to be like a final alien confrontation sequence before she gets there. She's trying to get to the shuttle, has an encounter with the alien somehow. I don't know whether she outmaneuvers it or whatever, or manages to, I don't know, like actually use the flamethrower on it, but she gets to the shuttle. And so the creature apparently really did what really was going to die on the ship when it blows up. right? And so I found it really funny how, you know, that Super 8mm digest version completely cuts out, you know, the whole shuttle thing and just like cuts to credits right after the explosion.
You don't need it.
You don't need
Superfluous.
it. But you know, one, you know, that's also reading the comment. It tells how the original, even the original, like, I wonder how far into it they got, because the comic also has like the 4-fact thing. And so I wonder how far into it they went in, they made that decision. But also I love it because, again, it just escalate. I think O'Bannon, you know, like, let's just go further.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
it
it's
really
also,
just
like,
sounds
dropping
like
the
you can't
pretense.
kill this thing. Really, like you like how do you how do you get rid of it? You can't. It's
Yeah.
there.
Impossible to kill. Like, you're even more isolated than you ever were before. And then also it's dropped the entire pretense that this was anything other but a horror movie the entire time, right? There was always the sheen of sci-fi or any of the other stuff that we were inferring. But like by the end, it's just like, no, this is a horror movie. She's trapped in the house and the killer is in the house with her, right? And it's just a different version of that. And what I love is how space is incorporated into this fight, how there is this whole, like, she has to like hide in the suit, right? As she's like looking at it, all this stuff. Great. Love it all.
100%. Like, yeah, no, it's the perfect encapsulation of all of the ways this movie has been tense. It's the claustrophobia amped up to 11. It's the fact that this thing is just so perversely determined, amped up to 11. And it's like, again, it's like, what is this thing? Because it survives. Like, if the thrusters hadn't pushed it off, it would be crawling fucking around the outside of the escape shuttle for who knows how long.
Because by all logic, you're like, well, that's the space is the thing that kills it. Like, nothing can breathe in space. Alien proceeds to breathe in space. What?
But also, like, the
Does it breathe
fucking
in space?
pressure. The pressure.
Oh, it doesn't breathe. I don't know.
Like, well, does it breathe? Like, that's the question. Does it
Yeah,
breathe?
If it doesn't need eyes, it doesn't need lungs in my books, you know.
But also, like, that just means, like, what is it made of too? Like it's carapace, like the fucking pressure out there, you know?
Right.
Like,
that should be crushing it, right? It doesn't have a spacesuit.
its own carapace itself is like enough, and so it's wonderful. This entire sequence is wonderful.
But the harpoon though punctures it though, right? So
Yeah.
is it really?
Well, who knows at this point?
Harpoon's my only weakness.
I'm just surprised that no acid like leaked out at that moment, right? Because then the shoe would be really fucked. Right?
Yes,
Imagine,
exactly.
Like, having,
That would have been a dark ending.
Yeah. You've got an escape
but-
pod home, but there's a hole in it.
Yeah, but also, can I just say that I love how they bring the alien, how they actually drop that how the shoe drops and you find out that the alien's in the shell, because it's like it's literally
It's curled.
embedded in. Yeah, it's
the
curled in those walls, so its head looks like one of those, like one of the tubes or whatever that is, right? And then its arm reaches out, and apparently it's asleep or something.
It was it was full, you know. After you have a big meal, you're like, oh, I need to lay down.
Well, like,
You know,
hey,
just-
the ship was about to explode. That was pretty stressful, right? Like,
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
you
like
want,
the mouth is, it's like yawning or something. Like the second mouth like comes out, there's a kind of weird playfulness to the way that they even show that, like, you know.
Yeah, like like at this point, it thinks it's won, and it can think. So it really does. I think that's also what allows it to get the upper hand, because like it takes its time at this point. There's no need for it to take its time, but it's sadistic. You know, it's cruel.
Well, and to me, the napping and like the almost yawn that feeds into, like, we were talking about, like the maternal imagery and the perversion of that maternal imagery. Like, there's something still infantile about the xenomorph, because even though it grew large so quickly, it's like, well, it's only been alive for not that long. You know, it's like it's still a child, kind of.
Yeah, and I think that's also part of the That's also, I think I'm hearing some rumors about like how it's meant to like have a second phase where like it becomes like it can talk, and it starts talking like Ripley. It's just like kind of
Wait,
fucking
what?
fucked up. I remember hearing about this that this thing that they didn't shoot was one of the ideas for the ending where it would.
Oh,
evolve
was it
again.
like Ripley dies and then it
Yeah.
like it mimics her voice or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Like that was like a
God.
proposed idea at one point.
Yeah, which I think if it was, that was fucking reused for Return of the Living Dead.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, I feel like Return of the Living Dead, like it's a symbiont circle, you know.
Well, Life Force is also just a hodgepodge of Alien and Return of the Living Dead. So it's not really like the always most original guy.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you know
but he's
what?
got good ideas, so reuse them. You know,
Yeah, why not? Why not? I love it. You know, it's a zombie movie. It's you know, it's different enough. A vampire movie, different enough.
I just like that we do get those shots of the alien in the thruster, right? Like
Yes.
he's stuck on the grappling hook and he's just kind of like flailing, right?
And
And then when he
doesn't-
does get burnt, like the lens is wet, right? As if,
Yes.
like the acid's hitting the lens. I really like that touch.
Right, but like it's still like maneuvering around, even as it gets pushed off, it's still flailing. So the up until a certain movie came out recently, like the implication is like so haunting, like it's not dead.
Mhm.
It's not dead. After all of that, she's safe, she's alive, but it's not dead. It's
Mhm.
crazy. I love it.
it's not dead, and it never stops trying to get at her. You know, like it's like you literally just have to like fucking fling it. You know, like when a bug gets on you and it's like stuck to you, you're like fucking get off me.
It's like, but imagine like Cloverfield. Them in Cloverfield, where like you know they nuke New York, and at the end of the movie, if you play like one of the soundtrack bites backwards, it says it's still alive. Like that's what it feels like to me. Like, geez, man, it's just the haunt implication of that is phenomenal.
Well, you know, I liked when it was still an implication. I mean, the fact that they
We all do.
literally, yeah,
fucking
brought
brought
it
it
back.
back. And then
I-
killed it off screen. You know, fuck that
I-
movie.
You know, I do wonder though if that was in fact Ridley Scott's idea. It's interesting because I remember I think it might have been on the Alien Covenant commentary track where I think he literally talks about the notion that in his mind the xenomorphs are supposed to be legitimately invulnerable or something, that you can even crush them but they'll regenerate or something. So I couldn't help but think back to that when I'm like, well, wait a minute, so did it resurrect or something in space? I mean, you know, I guess like the idea in Rob Mills is that it sort of froze or whatever, turned into like a block of ice that was then
Like
then,
a space
exhumed.
cocoon, or just like it froze because of the environment of space froze it or something.
Yeah. So, but still, I'm just like I was kind of in hindsight really disappointed that they went into that direction, because I mean, because otherwise, you know, like at the same time, you know, that movie doesn't mind showing you, oh yeah, all of the xenomorphs can die very quickly if you shoot at them at the right angle and so on and so forth. It's like, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I want them to. Do I think the xenomorphs deserve to be invincible? No. That to me is too far. You know. Do I think that they're super? Do I think they should be super resilient? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't want them to be invincible, no, but like I think that like it's the perfect note to end this on. Like it's just experience that she survived. Now, what does that mean? Who would have
That's
fucking
it.
tell?
Mhm.
There should be an
Yeah.
inkling that you can maybe like defeat it or kill it, but that's such a remote possibility. Like I like that's the sweet spot for me. Like in terms of like, yeah, it's not an actual like it doesn't. I don't want it to have Wolverine regenerating healing ability, but like just to be like, well, it's really fucking durable. Like most things aren't going to be able to kill it.
Yeah, and also like if we're comparing this to 2001: A Space Odyssey again, right? Like the ending of that movie is our protagonist achieving enlightenment, right? Like just completely learning the best possible lesson you could from something, right? And this movie instead is like you survived the most horrific night of your life, and that's about it, right? Like you're not going to have it. Like there's nothing that's really going to make that make more sense, right? There's nothing about that that's going to make her feel better. She just went through like something horrific, right? And now she's just going to have to live with that. If there's no other Alien movie after this, right? This is a
Right.
movie about how she's just left with like this fucked up thing that happened to her.
Now
right?
what?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
then
great,
also,
I get to go home.
2001 ended with humanity ascending, like, you know, comes the start, reborn as the star child. Like the xenomorph is like a perversion of the human form, you know, like that's like the reverse of that. And then, or according to some people, maybe an improvement. Who's to
Yeah.
say?
It depends on Guy Pearce where he's at. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, it's what a fucking film, man.
Yeah.
Like,
It's perfect.
like
It's like exactly what it needs to be.
like yeah, it takes the genre just seriously enough to catapult it. You know, like it's one of those things where, like, were you aware you were making something so, like, so influentially volatile in that moment? Like, this is a Molotov cocktail fucking movie. Like, you just light it on fire and you just set it off, you throw it and watch it go aflame, you know? And like, or is it like, it's again, one Bernardo del Toro, like when he mentions maybe, he mentioned like we're treating the B movie like an A movie, and I think this is one of the best examples of that, because it is like, it's not too far removed from the regular tropes or cliches, but it treats them with just enough, you know, technical, like, mastery and sincerity and verisimilitude. Like, it becomes something that you probably wouldn't have expected, you know. And I think it's great. It's phenomenal.
A-class filmmaking for sure. If there's one thing that I'm kind of disappointed with in hindsight, is that this, and this is again simply because of the larger franchise, right? But it's like there are way too many Alien sequels that would try to ape this film structurally, right? So at a certain point, like the fourth act, becomes a crutch. It just becomes like this redundant, completely like unnecessary thing. And I think like the first four movies reuse the structure. I think like the first three sequels reuse the structure well, but then after that it's just like, oh my god, please, no more fourth act already.
I agree. I do like some of the fourth acts, but at that point, I don't think they bring enough to the Alien to make it like worthwhile. Because again, it's great because it does, like, again, it has a great kind of beat of like, we're always showing something new. Like every little piece of information, it propels the next bit. The characters know more. They know how much more fucked they are. Things become more desperate. As the sequels goes along, it's like, we're 2 steps ahead of the characters. Now we're 3 steps ahead of the characters. Now we're 4 steps ahead. Like, it's no longer entertaining. I think, and it fucking Romulus, we're now like 20. We're like 10. It regresses so much far back that we're now like 20 steps ahead of the characters, and it becomes one of the most boring movies ever made. So I think that becomes an issue. Yeah. I agree.
It's also just an issue because each movie has to like reverse engineer the alien itself, right? Like, how do we get to it, the xenomorph, right? And also, as we'll see, there's 4 movies with Ripley, right? Like, the whole reason the xenomorph is crazy is because, like, you don't know that it's there, right? And the fact that you have a character who's going to be constantly thrown back into that thing, right? It's like nobody who's ever experienced that once would want to go near it, right? It's just sheerly out of plot convenience, right? So it's like, whether we'll say hugely positive or negative things about the Prometheus and Covenant, we'll leave that as a suspense for you guys, right? But really, at the end of the day, it's like you can't put the cat back in the bag, right? Like, the xenomorph was is creepy because it was unknown, and every time you make a sequel, you're removing the mystique, right? So therefore, you're kind of getting away from it in a way that another sequel can't really fix, right? It's like the fact that it just existed as a species in this film was what made it scary, right? So it's like, the more sequels you do, the less it becomes scary.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes less scary, but I do kind of like it. We'll talk about it when we get to sequels. The arc, because of the compression of time and deep space travel. It's like, when you're frozen, it's like all of this happens to all these movies. It's like within the span of a couple of weeks from her perspective, right? Like, her getting woken up, and then like she's having a really rough time.
Yeah, it's like Evil Dead. All that happens in like 3 days.
I woke up too late.
I want to say, in regard to your comment on the fact that they kept bringing Ripley back, Tony, is that it's interesting. Yeah, there's definitely been, I think, some valid critiques about how the series seemed to be incapable of moving past Ripley, and this is something that I believe we've talked about when we talked about the Predator movies, which is that the way that sequels and franchises seem to work in Hollywood is that you always needed returning or recurring actors, right? Like there was a lot riding on that. Like you can't make a sequel to an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie without bringing back Arnold Schwarzenegger. Or if you do that, then it's like nobody's going to want to watch it, or people will consider it lesser, by just because of that, right?
Oh, is this a direct-to-video sequel? They didn't get the main person.
No. Isaac's back for this one.
Yeah, but what I mean is that, like, it's interesting how over the years, though, right? Like, I think in the last 10, 15 years, especially, we've sort of moved past like the star orientation of sequels and franchises. It's become more, okay, like people are far more accepting of the fact that, okay, we can do different stories set in the world, set in the same world with like the same concept, right? But tackle it, in different ways, in different genres, right? So I think like Alien in that regard, like it took a while to get to that point. I think the Predator franchise was much more, and not intentionally, but it was far more. It had to be sort of like more inventive and experimental in some ways. I think because it couldn't rely on a returning star, so it was more like, okay, let's advance the concept here. Let's like explore, like this. Let's make this a completely standalone story.
The iconography becomes the star,
Exactly.
which I feel like has its draws and minuses. Like it has
like,
pluses and minuses to that.
There's more variety of Predator than there are Alien, which I think that at that point it depends on the quality of the film. Which,
right.
Yeah.
We will talk about that later with Predator.
For sure. And I think like, Predators lend themselves better to that, I think, because they are more humanoid aliens, right? Like you can't really humanize the xenomorph, I think. You can't make the
Predator
xenomorph
Badlands before a xenomorph.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. Like you can't make I don't think you can make a movie with the xenomorph as a protagonist. That just wouldn't work, I mean,
no, it's got to be like an animated film, like Ants, right? Like you gotta get...
Let's just make a prequel to Alien versus Predator, the first one, where they were slaves to the Predators, and we make them up.
They were like training drones the Predators made, which is the most insane idea ever. Like, why would you make that?
But this one, there's a revolt. Let's make it a revolt, and one is a smart alien. Like,
right.
I think
it's
they like Braveheart.
The Apes.
Or Spartacus.
Exactly. And it's like a tragedy.
I'm xenomorph.
Yeah. It's like a tragedy because they all get nuked.
Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, but with the xenomorph.
Let's do that one. Let's do that series next.
Hell yeah.
But no. Any last thoughts on this? Because it speaks for itself. So which makes the time we talked about it entirely worthless.
Honestly, it kind of does feel like an impossible movie to talk about. It's that classic, right? So it's like I feel like we just expounded upon why we loved it, and I feel like anybody who recorded a podcast for as long as we did would have completely different things that they loved. So it's really just like what we got out of it. It's the kind of movie that's persisted for as long as it had, because it's just a perfect artifact, right? People will remember this for hundreds of years.
100%. Yeah, I watch it all the time, man. It's fucking phenomenal. How about you, Doug? Any last thoughts?
It's classic for a reason. Like you said, like how much is there else to say about it? I mean, like even just like, because I've seen this movie a billion times, but like recently listening to the commentary, like you do get things here and there, but like that just enhanced my enjoyment of it and like what they're able to do here. But it's like, what can I say that can even add to that? I did like that. I don't even know if this is like how powerful apocryphal this is or not, but like Ridley Scott was saying in the commentary that like Yaphet Kotto would keep coming up to him like before they shot his death scene, be like, I don't want to die, man. I can't. I want to kill this thing. It can't kill me. Well, like
That's awesome.
He would have read
Classic
the script, though,
Yaphet.
when he signed up for it. It's like, you're gonna die. That's
Classic
part of the movie.
Yaphet, man.
I just like the idea that like in his mind, right? Like Ridley would just one day just be like, you know what? You're right. You know, and just
fold and rewrite the ending.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna
That's
kill
like
this
photos
thing.
like with her on the ship, you know, leaving. Like, yeah.
All right. Let's see. What about you?
I want to say that can I just say that the poster is really cool, but also very misleading because that's not what the alien egg looks like at all, right?
And that's not how it cracks.
Yeah, no, but I love how, right? It's like literally an egg. It's like you don't see the creature, it's just like a tease of it. And the egg, like you would expect maybe like a chicken egg or a dinosaur egg to look like. So it doesn't even really spoil what the actual alien eggs look like. And it's just like, I don't know. There's something kind of goofy about it, but still just like pretty cool and evocative in its own way, I think.
It's kind of a perfect poster and tagline.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. You can't top it. It's the Alien. It's a movie called Alien, and it's able to own that.
Yeah, I mean, how exactly? Like as I mentioned, it's the definitive article. Like it is what it is. I mean, if it had been any worse, we probably would have gone a full-on remake or something.
Exactly.
But it's one of those things you just can't touch. You can't make a second Jaws.
Exactly.
That's why you have to just keep setting it later or find cracks in between sequels to set it. Like, yeah, you can't redo this thing like this. They got it right out of the gate.
Right.
But I will say this though. One other thing that, again, and this is a franchise problem, is just like I really wish that the aesthetic that we see here, the future is old, 1970s computer machinery, like aesthetic. I really wish it had not become like the house style for the Alien movies that came later. I mean, I just feel like this was it's a real shame that they started to do that. I don't know whether it was like Romulus or Alien Earth or whatever, but it's like at a certain point, it just like, wow, like it feels like everybody wants to emulate the look and feel of this.
Romulus and Earth are both guilty of doing that. I do like how Prometheus's answer was, it's like, well, no, because this is an actual Weyland like Weyland is on this expedition. It's like an Apple store then. It's so sleek.
Yeah, everything is top of the line. I think, again, no, it's definitely the whole Disney of it all. Like with Star Wars, they're trying to kind of commodify and set down the iconic look. And yeah, it's an iconic look, but also why would we see it every single time? It's boring. It's boring.
Well, it's like in Star Wars too, right? Where it's like, that they're just reusing that tech because it's what's known, right? Rather than the fact that it was created that way because it was meant to be lived in, right? That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Why do Jedis wear robes like that? Because that's what Ben Kenobi was, Obi-Wan was wearing.
Though I will say you got to give George Lucas props for really changing the look and aesthetic of things with the prequel trilogy. I mean, he really did bring a lot of novelty.
He took a swing. Sure. He took a lot of swings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's peace out. Okay, Tony, why don't you tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Poral Rolo Tony right there on Twitter, and you can also find me on These Guys Got Juice with Doug, we're a co-host, and we review movies. We got some movies coming up. We got some movies going out. You know what I mean? And you can also find me at 2 Cent Film Critic, where I believe the Voices episode, the Ryan Reynolds film, that'll be coming out soon, and I'll be recording an episode on Deadcom this week. So get ready for that.
Awesome. All right, Doug, why don't you tell us where they can find you?
As Tony previously said, we host a podcast. These Guys Got Juice, movies, TV coverage. I'm catching up on my uploads, but yeah, we've been covering some of the releases this summer. Also, a little bit of TV here and there, like Widow's Bay, Euphoria, stuff like that. And then I've been guesting on a podcast called Morbid Curiosities, hosted by Nick Ewers, and we've been going through all the Godzilla movies. We started all the way in the beginning with the first one, and we're trying. The goal is to get to them all before -0. I think we're just gonna stick with the the Japanese ones and then do the MonsterVerse later at some point, because like also who cares about MonsterVerse? But
They don't count.
yeah, we'll do those at some point, I guess. But yeah, go check out those Godzilla commentaries. Those have been a lot of fun.
Doug, can I just I just have a quick question. Have you gotten to the Heisei era?
I'm getting my. When does that era begin?
Like 1984.
No, we're not there yet. We're like in the 70s.
Okay, yeah, I'm just like okay, I'm just really curious because I love the Heisei stuff, especially Biolante and Ghidorah. In fact, like I really think like anyway, I have a lot of thoughts of the 92 movie, and actually because I think like Godzilla Minus One was kind of a remake of Godzilla versus King Ghidorah in 1992.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm
looking forward to listening to that.
Yeah, check them out. So actually, no, the last one we did that we recorded was Son of Godzilla, so that's 67. So yeah, we still.
Oh,
I mean,
brother.
at that point, there was like one every year. Like we're gonna get to the point where like in between airs, there's like a little more gaps. So like I think we can do it and catch up in time. It's got till November for minus zero, but Son of Godzilla, yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
All right, so Mikhail, tell us where we can find you.
You can find me at MLS532 on Twitter, and also I run a newsletter on Substack called Textual Variations. And you know, I write a lot about I talk a lot about the Sonyverse these days, so hopefully we'll have a brand new article before like the end of September or something, where I will unveil a lot of truths about what really happened to the SSU. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Blow the whistle, all this, man.
Modern day Edward Snowden.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me again. And next week we're going to be on aliens. This time there's more of them. Alien dollar sign.
Boom, 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 and a ching, and watch my aliens.
Oh my god! All right. Well, thank you. All right, and see you next week. And fantastic. You know, I can't wait to see more.
Starting on the highest note possible. So
right.
we can only I like some sequels, but we can only go down.
Exactly. Well, what a world. All right. See you.
Hey guys, can you hear this?
Oh my god! No, I'm in.
What was that?
Yeah. All right. See you guys. We're in a stream.
Yeah. Okay.